everyone, Sawmill Charlie, Mr.
And
Bob
Bob.
Walker with Bee Ranch. And welcome to the Friday night show after the big turkey day. Hopefully everybody had plenty of turkey and are not too well stuffed. Hey, Michael Mitchell. And Stuffy and James and who else there? Stone River. I'm not sure who Stone River is. His first name. But anyway, hopefully everybody's been having a good weekend. I've been doing pretty good here. I went out Thanksgiving morning, and here in Maryland, it was about 45 degrees at 9:30 in the morning. By 11:30, I had all my hives vaporized for the second time around this month. And hey, Mark, Bill, and got that done. And that's my plan for my varroa mite that's the third part of my varroa mite treatment program. I start in late July this year with Apricot or Aprivar. I was going to do Apricot, but it was just a little bit too hot for that. Did 6 weeks of that. Came back behind that after a 99-degree week, and then I laid in the Formic Pro, and for 2 weeks at 75 degrees and low humidity, which was wonderful. And then I fed them with about 200 gallons of sugar water, and along with some Spider and Lanternfly honey that they made themselves. And
Too sweet.
Then my next part of my treatment program is to vaporize them at least twice a month, if weather permitting, with oxalic acid until about the 1st of March. So far, so good. It's been about 50 to 55 degrees for the last 3 days as far as peak temperatures. Bees have been flying. I've put out some Ultra Bee pollen powder in a bucket. They've been sucking that stuff down. I mean, usually I take a coffee can, the old big coffee can, and I go in there. I put my pollen powder. You take a 40 pound, I think it's a 40-pound bag or 50-pound bag. I put it in at least 2 5-gallon buckets and store it that way to keep the mice and everything out of it. And I take about a coffee can, not a total full one, but 3/4 full, and throw that in a bucket. Hey, Tim and Hannah and Grammy, and put that in a little bucket out there, and I put it up on top of actually like a medium 5-frame super, and on an angle, and they've been eating the dickens out of it, taking it back into the hives. So I did go into my hives, I think it was last week sometime. It was about 55, close to 60. Did find the queen in one of my problem hives, and she had larvae in there, a small, 4-inch diameter patch of brood. So I didn't see a whole lot of pollen or bee bread. So I said, give them something to help them babies out. So that's what I did. Hey, Darren. And all that. So that's what I've been doing. And then today I went it's Friday. We were kind of open, and I took a hydraulic cylinder up to Pennsylvania, which I went right past my bee supplier there.
Lloyd's.
It's called no, it's an Amish guy up there, Ike's. That's where I buy a lot of my nuke boxes and stuff like that. And stopped in there, and I picked up, I don't know if we've talked about it here or not, but I don't know, it's the crown of thorns, as I call it. It's a little round ring that's got nails all the way around it. Right. And then it's got the little strings that they're all going across, where you can take that and plop it right down on the frame where the queen's at and capture her on the frame. And then you can mark her right there, and then just pull it up off of there, and she's kind of where she goes, That was,
I haven't done much with the bees. I did put some pollen sub out today.
yeah.
It rained yesterday, but pollen sub out today, and they went right to it within 5 minutes or so. They were on it. I've been doing a lot of lasering stuff, so
Nice.
perfectly fits 3 8-ounce jars of honey.
Nice gift box.
So, been working on that, and then
Now, did you actually cut the joinery on that with a laser?
with the laser, yeah, cut it
Okay.
out. It's out of Alex's magic basswood tree. It's an 1/8-inch basswood, so
Yeah.
nice
Alex will be
box.
proud. Hey, Norm.
And then
Hope everything's up and good in Canada.
this was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a little beehive.
What's that?
So it's got the queen underneath the lid there, so don't smush her. Then it's got 6 frames in each box, and
That must be a license hive.
yeah, it's sideways. You notice that too? That
Oh, it's the warm way.
yeah, it's sideways.
Yeah, but they call that in the beekeeping industry. It's called the warm way.
The warm way.
Mm-hmm. And
The
then
biggest-
the normal way is the cold way.
The biggest problem with constructing these things is you have to put the little frame rest. You have to glue them on, so you got to kind of let that dry first. But then each frame
Hey, Brad. Yep.
pops on there like that. So I put those on the website in case anybody wants any for Christmas. I ordered more wood because between the boxes
Hey, Brian.
and now these little hives, it's kind of taking up my resources there.
Hey, Doug.
You know, if you hate putting together big hive bodies, you'll really hate putting together little hive bodies.
And so I stopped by up there and I got that. I needed an inner cover for one of my nukes. And so they changed the design. Now they're putting that 78 millimeter hole in for your mason jars in the inner cover now.
Instead of
Then
the
the
long
girl,
skinny ones.
yeah, instead of the escape hole, which is fine with me. And the girl that's up there, she really, she's a young Amish girl. She knows her stuff. She knows the pricing and all. This other girl that was in there, she didn't know anything. Seemed like she gave me a cover. And I looked at that thing and I'm like, something ain't right here. It's just too small looking. And I happen to have a box over there. Well, yeah. I said, this thing here's for a 4-frame box or something. And then she went out and got me another one, and it was the right one.
You know, I bet you Brian could 3D print a bee escape that would fit in that hole, the round hole in them, because they've got them for the long hole, right?
That's what that was. That the rectangle was designed. That's why that hole was put in there. It was for those old bee escapes. But who uses them? I don't.
Not like that.
So I got that straightened out, and then they had some. I've been using political signs for the mite drop boards, where actually I use them to close the bottoms up. And then when you buy stuff from him, and you get a. Brian said he can. You get a Coroplast board that fits his bottom boards when you're buying screen and stuff. So he had extra of those there, and she's, I said for a couple bucks, they, I bought a dozen of them for my dozen hives.
Right.
So just to have, because the ones that I've made myself, after, I don't know, it seems like after 4 or 5 years, the sun must eat up the plastic, and it's brittle, breaks up and stuff like that.
You go ahead and
let's see.
Thumbs up on the video. There's 47 people watching, but only 13 thumbs up. Y'all are falling down on the job out there in chat land.
Yeah, Brian's printing for Nobby. And then, like I was saying about that other chat was on that the guys who's making that new hive that Brad was commenting on that he had done 20 years ago.
Yeah,
he's going to be down at Nobby, and this is his first time coming to this. This is going to be of course, it is the biggest convention for bees, and in the United States, at least. I don't know about that one over in Britain or not, but
thanks, Ian.
Hey, Ian. And so anyway, I said, he's going to get his eyes opened up a little bit. He doesn't do a lot of YouTube. He went and I don't know how he got it done, but Burns called him, and what's the other guy's name up in Pennsylvania? That Fred Dunn.
Fred Dunn.
They were interviewing me about this here hive that he's come up with, the Keepers hive.
He's getting credit.
I thought he probably contacted him, but he said not.
It might be like Vivo Farms, just reinvented a licensed polyhive.
That's about what it amounted to.
Ian says, "How's the weather, Charlie?"
It was 50, it was 50 degrees here today. Bees were flying, which is 10 degrees Celsius. And I've been feeding pollen, powder, Ultra B, give them some pollen because they're brooding. And I vaporized the hives, like I said, yesterday morning with my ProVap. And I've checked 2 weeks ago, I vaporized. I've been doing it twice a month. I checked them about 3 or 4 days after the vaporization and pulled those bottom chloroplast boards out to check the mite drop, and very minimal. I'll say 25 mites maybe if you're really sitting there counting them. I mean, I kind of look at it -6C, and that is 21 degrees Fahrenheit. And 32 up at Ohio.
Doug says it's -15 where he's at.
-15, which is 5 degrees.
I am 50 degrees right now. It'll be 58 tomorrow for a high.
And it's, right here, right now on my computer, it says it's 40 degrees and clear. I presume that's for Falston, yeah. So it's been a good day. I sold. Actually, I didn't sell it because I went to Pennsylvania and hung out a good portion of the day. I sold. What was it? I sold 13 pounds of honey today, or my brother did for me. And total of this week so far is 27 pounds. And I think I could put another 55 pounds of honey in my bottling tank.
I sold $115 worth today.
I sold.
People just driving up and handing me money and taking some honey away.
I did $130 today. Well, let me go here and drop a link.
Some cream, some hot honey, and some runny honey.
And
matter of fact, did I already stuff it in the jar? I think I stuffed it in my jar already. If not, it's lost forever. I don't know where it's at in here. So,
all right, the link is dropped.
The link has been dropped.
But it's been a very productive day, financially and everything else. And
was the mill open today?
Yeah, well, we were here. I'll put it to you that way, where my brother was. I don't think I had one guy two people showed up. There must have been some other folks that showed up. I don't think they really bought any lumber. They were all coming in for honey. I had my one guy, the pizza man, I call him. He works at the local pizza shop. He comes in and buys 2 1-pounders all the time. So he called me up, said, "Are you there?" I said, "Yeah, come on up."
I had a
So
guy bought $50 worth of honey today.
Ed sold $200 worth. That's cool.
Yeah, he's got a nice looking sign that Ed, if you don't mind, I'll share that picture.
Hey, Three Oaks.
And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing for me. But he bought $50 today, but he bought $100 this past weekend. So I don't know how much honey he eats, but he's got
He put one of them
flags up.
Yeah, the guy that I mentored up here on top of the hill, he put them out alongside that main road. I forget where he bought it from, Amazon or someplace like that. They call them, what do they call them? Feather signs.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just they call it just a flag or if it's
Hey,
a
Shane.
specific type. So
Yeah.
I've got another batch of honey. It's going to be cool tomorrow, but it's supposed to be sunny, so I'm probably going to be out in front. But now it's going to be a whole nother thing because I got to go box it up out of the warmer to carry out there, right? So now it's just another step, but it'll be nice, clear honey. So that'll be good.
What
So
did I do? Got to pin it.
I think I'm getting too many flavors. People are having a hard time deciding, right, what they want.
Where is that at? Do I have to do it again?
Now you can scroll up to it and pin it. Just scroll up to where it is on.
All right, there it is. I got it.
And my laser's going crazy over there if y'all can hear it or not.
Yeah, I hear it.
So this is how they come, guys. If you're looking,
you gotta put it together.
I mean,
Does it come with nails?
Glue. You got to glue it. I mean, it's not bad, other than having to get those things to go in there. So the little frame.
Yeah, Ed says it's called you get it on Amazon. It's called a feather flag. That's what you need to put out in your thing.
I'd have to put 37 of them along the front of the property.
Why?
Just line the whole thing up so they'd be like, "What the hell's going on over there?" All these different flags.
That'll get their attention.
Well,
put a couple of them up.
I'm gonna have to source some honey soon, probably, because by the time I bottle up what I have left in the tank, that'll be it.
So Norman, aren't you up? Isn't Norman one of Brad's friends up in Canada?
No, he's not in Canada. He's in the States, but he is.
Okay.
Yeah, get one of those big spotlights. Selling it at night there.
Look at there's Santa Claus himself.
Oh my God.
How you doing, guys?
It looks like you're at a 4-H gathering.
You remember Jenna and Kara?
How could we forget them?
That's your number one apiary helper right behind there.
You betcha. She hasn't got a cool hat like I got on tonight, but she's close.
She's got a suit on.
Yeah, we're out here at the market here. So this is the Sexsmith Christmas market, and maybe what I should do is show you what these girls have got done here.
All right, let me put you on.
We'll put you on Jumbotron.
Yeah, Jumbo
mode.
There you go.
There you are.
So these here are some of the wraps that they made.
Right, slow down. All right, now steady.
Right. So these are all reusable wraps.
Yeah, that's the wax wrap, wax impregnated. Hey, guys.
Hey.
We are currently live all over the world, and Bob and Charlie are actually down in the U.S. So some nice patrons out here supporting us.
Got 63 people watching.
What's that?
63 people watching.
Oh, well, there we go. And then they've got, of course, just helping them out a little bit here, but they've got all of their honey out here. Nice display.
Now, what's in the white bucket? Is that crystallized honey?
Cream honey.
Is that cream?
In the white buckets?
Yeah.
No, that's just liquid honey. So actually, that's just some honey that I gave them here to help fill up their display. And then they got their nice candles.
Okay.
Doesn't that look nice?
It looks very good.
They've came up with the idea of bees in the acrylic. So these are actually really cool too.
What was the young man's name that was on the stream that night?
I could barely hear you. It's kind of...
The young man that was on the stream that night that was making those?
AJ made those, absolutely.
AJ.
Yep, for sure. So, and then of course, well, you guys seen the flavored honey. Now, we had, what did we have? We had 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, this is all that's left.
Out of all that you boxed?
You had 70 or 80 some of those. You did that one night.
And this is the opening night, and this is what we have left. So it sells good. But I don't know, maybe I'll just kind of show around. Like, this is only one.
Go ahead and show us your show you what you got there.
So, well, actually, while we're on, I'm going to walk around because remember I told you guys there's a meadery here that
yeah, the meadery.
Honey. Yeah. So we're going to walk right over here. Oh, and she's busy pouring samples right now.
Well, let's have a sample.
I'm gonna flip the camera around so that you guys can see here. Just give me 1 second.
All right. You just turn yourself.
Oh,
there you go.
No, he's got to click
Wrong button.
Hang on here. We'll get her figured.
Nope.
Hang on.
He's got a mighty snappy tie on. I know that.
There we go.
There we go.
All righty. So this is Christiva. So she has Stolen Harvest Meadery. So we are live all over the world right now. How many viewers?
We got 61 viewers across the United States and Canada.
61 viewers across the U.S. and Canada. So this is Christiva. So tell us about your product.
Well, my product is mead, which is also known as honey wine, the oldest alcohol known to humans. It's also the healthiest alcohol you'll ever drink. The honey stays raw throughout the fermentation process, and I only use whole real first fruit, or in this case, wild rose petals, or I caramelize. This is the only one that this is unique. This is the only one that the honey actually gets cooked. It's called the boucher, which means I caramelize the honey prior to fermentation, and it totally changes the chemical nature of the honey and the flavor. That one's put it in a brandy slicker and have it after dinner instead of a smoke.
And you have a website too, right?
I do. www.stolenharvest.com, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram.
There we go. So if you anybody wants some of the mead, you can check her out there.
Hey James, can you repeat the website?
Bubbly. This one was based on a jalapeno margarita that I tried at a Mexican restaurant and loved. So it is lime and jalapeno, and this one is a strawberry rhubarb. They're both bubbly, and they're both actually 10% alcohol, so they're a one and done, not a patio cup.
I'm gonna be sampling those for everybody online later on.
James, we can hardly hear her on the website. Can you say the website?
Oh, okay. So here, I'll just bring a little bit closer. They would like the website again.
Oh, www.stolenharvest.com.
.com?
.com, yep.
Oh, yeah, actually.
Oh, here.
All right, there it is, everyone.
So,
There you go.
Thank you, Christiva. I'm going to show you another product. I think I talked a little bit about. So this is a great market, and this is how working with your local vendors really really shines. So there's a whole nother room back over there. But I'm going to take you over here. So I'm going to show you this one. This is Eagle Hill. So they make haskellberry. I don't know how many of you are familiar with what a haskellberry is.
No.
So
I think there's another name for it, though, right?
it's it exactly. So this is all sweetened with honey. So it's
slow your camera down. Let it focus.
In the States,
Okay.
they call it
There you
a honeyberry.
here we go. So they make most of is either unsweetened. Here they got it sweetened with honey. They do have some that's sweetened with cane sugar, but they also have a jam.
And the jam is pretty similar to the unsweetened one.
Is the jam sweetened with honey as well?
Correct. Yep.
Old
So-
McNally's honey?
Old McNally's honey. You got her.
So now what's in the bottle is a drink, James.
The bottom is
No, the
Bottle. The bottle is a drink.
yeah. Oh yes. So this is a drink that they make.
Okay.
So and Heather's busy selling a whole bunch. So
Get her to see if you can get her to talk.
I will. So she's just with a customer here. You're live actually all over the U.S. and Canada right now. So but this is a great market, and this is what works to work with all the local vendors. So while Heather's busy, this is Canada, so if you need a toque, we can get a toque anywhere. and if you're cold, well, we can keep your feet warm too.
Did I see some woodenware stuff there?
Absolutely. This gentleman over here, he makes cups. He's got some on there, but unfortunately, well, he's got the Pittsburgh Penguins on there. So I mean, I guess you got to cater to all markets, right? So Heather, I'm putting her on the spot, so she didn't know, but we are currently live all over Canada and the U.S., and they're asking about your product. So
Raise the
maybe
camera
explain
up.
a little bit of it.
So
All right, there you go.
Berry, it's a super berry. It's super nutritious. It's extremely high in potassium and calcium and
I made her nervous because I got her put on the spot.
anyways, it's really nutritious.
Here, let's take a look at that.
Three times the antioxidant for blueberries,
There we go.
full of anti-inflammatories, anthocyanins, which is good for anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory, very high in vitamin C. So we've taken the berry and cold press to juice. We have a juice that's just unsweetened. There's no sugar, no water, it's just the straight juice. And that would be this one. It's packed full of flavor, packed full of nutrition. People like it for just to take a shot of it every day for the nutritional benefits. You can have this juice with sparkling water.
I ran out at home, so I'll be taking some home with me when I go.
Yeah. We sweeten it with local honey because some people like a little sweet. This is
And that's been selling pretty good from what I understand,
this
correct?
is a really good seller. Yes.
So excellent.
Yep.
So Heather and Eldon, they do support me. So they do use some of Old McNally's honey in there.
That's right. Yes.
So
Yep. And we also have sweetened it with cane sugar, which is another option.
Boo, cane sugar.
Great for ice cream.
yeah. So and it's good on ice cream too. But they have an interesting product here of which they're going to bring me a sample tomorrow. Maybe we should talk about that a little bit because there's a lot of beekeepers on here. And I think they're going to be quite interested with what they have come up with because I'm going to be taking some of that tomorrow, but they're going to bring me some. And we're going to try and mix it in with some honey. So we're going to make a Haskell flavored honey.
We have a freeze dryer and we take the entire berry. It's not just the juice, it's the whole berry. We freeze dry it, and freeze drying retains 98% of the nutrition of the berry. We take it, we freeze dry it, we grind it into, we pulverize it into a fine powder, and we're hoping here that we'll be mixing it with honey to make a Haskell honey.
Absolutely. So a super berry in a honey should make an excellent product. So where would people find your products?
We're in health food stores.
Yep. So most of these people would be, do you have somewhere they could phone or they could order or anything like that?
Well, in Grand Prairie, we have a few stores in Grand Prairie.
Yep.
We also have ourselves.
There we go.
Yep.
Is that in view, guys?
Yes, sir. Do they have they're on Facebook, but do they have a website you could go to order?
Not yet. Nope. They do have an email. So eaglehillfarm22@gmail.com.
And will they ship in the US?
Yeah. And they are on Facebook. So yes, Bob, they do.
Okay, awesome. Hey, I like that card reader. Same one I have.
There we go. So excellent. Well, thank you, Heather, and I apologize for putting you on the spot, but I couldn't resist. I like the product.
Thank you.
Well, there you go, guys. I won't hijack your channel too long, Charlie, but I just wanted to pop on and show what we're up to tonight, and kind of show how quickly sales can help and boost your business. So.
Tell the girls they need to get on AJ for let them do all the work there.
Absolutely. And like I say, Kara is knocking it out of the park again here, but and I know there was a lot of questions about flavored honey, but what do we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We have 16 containers left. That's all we have left.
I would really like to see a video on how they make those wax wraps.
Oh, okay. I will let Allegra know. These really are awesome. You want to see how they work?
Yes.
Yeah, a
All
friend
right,
of
Kara.
mine, they make them.
Kara's going to give us a demonstration of how they work.
So, first you take your wrap, and you just warm it up with your hands a little bit.
Can't hardly hear it.
She was just going to warm up the wrap in her hand a little bit. Well, once she gets it warmed in her hand,
You'll take it and spread it out. You'll take your jar.
and you can put it and use it anywhere you'd use saran wrap. So then she's just going to use one of the jars she's got, and you press it on and you seal it on. So it seals right to the jar. And one of the good things with wax, the wax is a natural mold inhibitor. So you can see how it's sealed right on that jar.
And then when you put it in the refrigerator, it's hardened up, right?
Absolutely. And you know what the good thing about these things is when you're done, you can take them off, wash them in cold water, and reuse them over and over and over and over again.
3-pack for $25 Canadian. That's like $3.95 US.
Something like that. So, yeah, here's their prices. So, but anyways, well, thank you to Charlie and the viewers. And like I say, I won't hijack your channel all night here, Charlie, but we have got all sorts of goods.
It's always
all
good
over
to see,
Yeah, it's very interesting.
to see what everybody else is doing. And it's good to see that the 4-H group is Still prospering very well.
They're doing good. In fact, just to give you guys an idea, that is all they have left of their honey. I think we might have a couple jars behind, but this is basically all they have left. So they probably most likely will be sold out at this show. So
Well, hey, that's the plan. Make the money for the 4-H and
absolutely. Alrighty, guys. Well, Jenna, Kara, if you want to wave to the U.S. and Canada goodbye, we will leave it to you.
All right, thanks,
See ya.
James.
You betcha. Have a good night, guys.
Night.
All right.
Hey, that's pretty interesting. I like shows like that. Right now, me personally, I don't feel like I have enough products to really fill a table up like maybe Brian and some of these other people do. But I'm working on it, right? Working to get to that level of stuff. They've worked at it a bit longer than I have as far as markets and whatnot.
Yeah. My friend Lloyd up there, they do a lot of shows like that, and his wife does these wraps. They were making them up at his house. I didn't really. There were some different processes, and I can't remember, but they developed a very easy way of impregnating the cloth with the wax
Without getting a bunch of clumped up wax on there and stuff.
Yeah, somehow she was able to evenly distribute that wax, and you really don't see the wax. It's just in the cloth itself.
Right.
And that's another product that you have to educate the public because they have no idea of what that looks like. And really, I didn't know nothing about it either. And clothes uses an iron.
Oh, use a clothes iron. So you just warm up an iron and iron it, and I guess it smooths the wax out.
I guess. Yeah. I forget how she did it. But that's something that, like like creamed honey, you're going to have to educate the folks down here.
All you got to do is give them a taste, and that educates them.
Well, if anything, if you can push the issue that Brian's mom's making them and a bunch of candles. And but the main thing is if you can push the fact that it is recyclable, reusable, it doesn't wear out type of thing. Hopefully that will, you can save a bunch of money in the long run by not having to buy these other.
And when they get old, you just light them on fire and throw them in your fireplace and get the log started again.
Yeah, there you go.
Works like a champ.
But it's like.
But it's amazing how with the bees, that really nothing goes to waste, right? I mean, they utilize everything in the colony, and then when we take it, really, I mean, yeah, there's going to be a little bit of loss with slum gum and stuff like that as far as wax, but pretty much you can keep just scraping the bucket, emptying. You never really waste any of it. It all goes to good use.
It's like with me in the mill here. A lot of people, your scrap lumber or your scrap wood, and I'm like, I don't have any scrap.
Right.
I says you take a 2x4, let's say, to a job site. Hey, Todd.
Hey, Charlie. Hey, Bob.
To a job site, and let's say it's an 8-foot 2x4, and they cut off 2 feet. All right, that's scrap. I make the 2x4, so there isn't any scrap,
Right.
except for the size of the logs, which is my firewood. So I sell the firewood, I sell the lumber, I sell the sawdust. And if it doesn't make those 3 products, then it goes through the grinder and it becomes mulch. And like I say, there just isn't any waste whatsoever. That's the best way to have it. You okay, Bob?
Yeah, I was just making sure my laser was still going there. And
so anyway, it's been pretty productive here. Like I say, for me, the last several days with the bees, getting them treated for the second time for this month, and stopping by the bee supply house today.
I'm just
And
putting together hives,
he's putting together hives
little hives.
and all that, and a little bit of turkey day. So, it's been nice, selling good amount of honey. I'm still wondering whether or not I need to buy some honey from some of my other friends before they run out of it. The way it's going.
If you go over to Canada, there's somebody just north of you with about 1,200 pounds up there.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah.
Probably sell it to you.
Yeah.
Sell you some of it.
And that's like I bottled what was it? I think close to 40 pounds of honey today. I bottled a bunch this morning to restock my supply in the back room, and then I had to take that and restock the office where I sell it, and then restock the supply house again. Plus, I went to my cousin's house yesterday, and then they had some of my 3-pound bottles, and they wanted to get refills. So I looked at my bottling tank. I had filled it up last week with the amount of honey that I like to keep in there, and I think it dropped at least, I don't know, 4 inches or more. And so I could probably right now drop another 55 pounds of honey in there.
You know what? I just came up with an idea while I was sitting here. So my specialty honeys, I sell for $10 a pound, right? So I could put specialty honey's $10 for a jar like this.
Yeah.
So I could put 2 of these in one with just regular honey in it, and then sell the whole thing for $30. And
yeah, but what about your
30 something? I
how
don't know,
much
30.
What's the box going to cost?
Well, depends if you include your time into it, right? If I put time in it, I'd have to charge $1,000 a box. But no, it's got to cut. It probably cost me $2.50 to make this box. So, whatever. But I just thought that if I took one of the specialty honeys out, so it could be like a regular honey and 2 specialty honeys and that way I'm making profit up on the regular honey instead of the specialties. So it's just a thought. Hey, Alex, I made this from your basswood tree, 1/8-inch basswood. Todd, are you muted?
No, I'm just sitting here.
So you said you just got back from the taco truck. What do you have? Is that like the Good Humor truck comes around your
No.
community, ringing the bell and say tacos, tacos?
No,
Plays the Mexican hat dance song.
there's a guy down the street that's got he's got a taco truck business, but on certain nights he just stays home and cooks there. So
he's alongside the road, and everybody stops in the community to get something to eat.
Oh yeah, it was packed.
Those are the best tacos ever off of those trucks.
Yep.
Best ones ever.
So So
I don't know. I know Brian's on there. He knows how to say it because he jokes with what's his name? Rourke. What's his first name?
Ricky
Rourke's wife. They say something in Spanish, and she gets all mad. And I think it means Taco Bell, and she said that ain't taco, that's junk. There it is, yo
quiero
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
Yeah.
What's that? And I don't what
I want Taco Bell,
I want Taco
or
Bell,
I need it, or something like
or I
that.
like Taco Bell.
Something
That's what I always call it, is the roach coach.
The roach.
Yeah,
coach.
well, those are different though, Charlie. Those are roach coaches are traditionally,
Sandwiches, chips.
Yeah, they're pre-made sandwiches. They don't cook them on the spot.
Right.
3 3-day-old mayo on the sandwiches, stuff like that.
That's
Yeah.
what we called it in the Navy. The roach coach is now on the pier, and everybody would come off the ship and buy their sandwich and chips or whatever,
Yeah.
candy bar, go back in.
No, I had 3 chicken tacos tonight. I told her, I said, here's my order in broken Spanish. I go, tres pollo, una tortilla y no aceite.
And then she says, "What do you want?"
Yeah. No, that's 3 chicken tacos, 1 tortilla, no oil.
The
What's Stuffy saying? He says the same thing.
Yep, Yo Quiero Taco Bell is the So how was Mom?
Well, after my major catastrophe, everything
He had
was
one
good.
job: bring the ham.
I had one job to bring the ham.
And
Yeah,
forgot.
but I mean, but your thing of it is you scaled up to filet
Yeah.
mignon. You
Yeah,
can't beat filet mignon over a stupid ham. I mean,
That-
come on, you know.
My mom and my daughter were kind of happy I screwed up.
Absolutely. You know,
I
this
felt
is now starting a new tradition here. Filet mignon for Christmas or for Thanksgiving.
And prime rib on Christmas.
But no, I started up the barbecue and cooked those things to 138 degrees, which is medium rare, the high end scale of medium rare, and then I had mashed
That's what I
potatoes.
want mine a little bit more cooked than that. Yeah.
Oh no!
I like medium well where it's slightly pink.
Oh my gosh! That
I
really
don't want no blood running out of it.
But it's not blood. It's better than charcoal. Eating charcoal. I mean, holy moly! That's
No, I don't want
really-
that either. I don't like that either. I like them nice and tender, juicy.
Well, that's medium. Not
Okay.
medium well.
Okay, medium
Yeah.
then.
I like it well. And everybody's gonna say you can't eat. That's not a way to eat a steak, but
good.
that's how I eat it. Well done. If it was beef jerky, I'd be fine.
But yeah, I made up for it.
I agree with you, Hope.
I
A1.
got some good steak or some good fillets.
I like the A1 bold. Is good.
one bowl.
Yeah, it's like spicier flavor type of deal.
Well, I went to Santa Maria, and Santa Maria is the tri-tip capital of the world. That's where tri-tip was invented. And if you put A1 on that, you're in trouble. If you ordered A1 in a restaurant, a tri-tip restaurant, those are fighting words. You go outside in the back in the alley with the cook and have it out.
Yeah, I have had some steak. I guess it would have been what's the one out in the Midwest? The Omaha steaks.
Omaha steak, yeah.
And like you say, you cook them up where they're nice and juicy. They actually have a flavor about them that you don't need to cover it up with A1. You can just eat it straight,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really nice.
Yeah, that's what my mom had in the freezer was Omaha steaks.
See,
Mhm.
Brad's giving me crap. If you're gonna eat it well done, have a hamburger. Stop ruining steak.
Yes.
Well, my thing is that most of the places you go to, it seems like they can't cook it right, no matter what you tell them.
Mm-hmm.
If I tell them well, it's usually going to come back a little pink anyway. It's more like a medium well, which is fine with me as well. Plus, the older I get, the less teeth I have, the rawer I need.
Yeah. Well done. I don't know how people eat that. It's tough. It's crunchy, like I don't know, like charcoal.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. But what are you worried about? Carrots in California cause cancer.
Everything over here. By the way, it's Prop 65, not Prop 59. It's Prop 65.
65.
Yeah.
What's 65? What's that?
That's where they put stickers on everything, even water. It says it could cause cancer.
You guys that's why they call it the land of the fruits and nuts.
Root. Yep. Yep. It is. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, well, were you doing anything out in bees? I know you guys have had, well, you've been having some rain. That's one thing. And then that's something you're not used to.
uh, yeah. Well, it sprinkled a little bit, but we haven't had too much rain as of late. But it's supposed to start up next week, I think. So
So you've been out there. I mean, I know you were worried about your feeding because they've been a flying
Yeah.
and all the other stuff, but now it's, so what are they looking like? Have you been able to get out there?
I was out there Tuesday, and same thing. They're still going. I hope it starts raining soon because that's the only way they're not going to be flying. It is what it is. I've been doing. I sold all of my creamed honey that I made. I had 48 jars.
Did you see what James did there?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, he sold all that. He had 80 some, tubs of that stuff. Hey, Doug.
How you doing, Doug?
Hey. All right, Doug, I got to put you on the spot here. I've been watching that video a couple of times. One had a blank spot, and then he came back and fixed it, I think. All right, you got a 55-gallon drum about halfway up. I know I could see it had water in it. And then you put the foam around the top, I guess, to conserve heat. And It had a immersion heater. I presume it's got some type of webbing in the bottom to get water underneath the 55-gallon drum.
Yep.
Well, then, all right, once you got it liquefied, it looked like to me you hooked up your pump. And then you pumped it up into, I'm going to say, a filtration tank up on the wall.
Yep.
And then that flowed down into your great big bottling tank. Am I right on that?
100%.
Okay. And then you had your creamer there. So you're putting in, it's a 40-gallon creamer? Or is it 40?
60 liters.
60 liters?
It's about 40, 45. Yeah.
60. All right. 40 to 45 gallons. I'll say 60 liters. So now how much seed did you put in there in order to put the liquefied honey on top of that? The way I understand it, you put creamed honey in the tank.
Yep.
It's hard, right? It's solid. And then what's it do? Reliquefy with the liquid honey?
Well, as soon as you start stirring it, it just mixes right up with it and disappears.
Yep. And then that seed is what makes everything react, I guess you would call it, to crystallize at the same rate and give you that certain size fine crystal in the batch of the honey. All right. Now that unit there was a licensed unit.
Yeah.
So that stirs for 15 minutes out of an hour.
Right.
And then how many days does that sit there and do that?
I filled that on Monday, and I'm going to look at it tomorrow for pumping.
So that's going to be
6 days.
6 days? 5 days?
Yeah, 5 days.
All right, so it's sitting there spinning 15 minutes, stirring it every 15 minutes out of an hour, 24 hours a day for let's say 6 days, 5 or 6 days. Now, you say it's ready for pumping. Now, is it still liquid or is it kind of like pudding where it's thick?
It'll be pretty thick.
What kind of pump are you going to pump it with?
Just that little pump that was on top there.
You mean those two little gear pumps?
Yep.
That looks like something that Bob bought that's only good for liquid honey.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what it will pump. You have to have that for measuring properly.
Yeah, that's what that thing that Bob. I mean, is that a $500 little pump measuring thing, or is that expensive?
It's about $2,500.
Okay.
Gear pump
for his.
When we shipped to China, we had to have something that would handle food and measure it in the exact quantities, and that's what we had to use.
And where did you buy where's that pump made at? In Canada or is that a licensed pump?
No, it come from Germany. That one, I think it was.
Okay. Is that plastic gears in there or is that stainless?
They're nylon gears.
Nylon?
Yeah. You can get different gears for different products that you use that for.
Oh, okay.
But the
Now
cream,
I seen the pump, and now the one comment I got to make for you there is you got to start talking. You got
Charlie,
you got to get on that video there, and you got to explain what you're doing to everybody, and that'll boost your subscribers and stuff.
well, then I couldn't come on here and have you question me.
Oh,
And at my age, if you start talking to yourself, there's a place for you.
well, that's why you have a little black wireless microphone on. You can blame it. Oh, I'm talking to the microphone, not myself. As
But
long as you don't answer yourself, you're in good shape.
If you've got creamed honey and you're always stirring it regular, it stays pretty liquidy. You'd be surprised how easy.
So instead of being like a pudding, I'm gonna say it's more like a real thick, let's say molasses type of
It's
texture.
thicker than that. Almost like concrete. When you're going to pour cement, it's pretty well that thick. Eh?
Okay. All right. So that's how you can pump it then. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, when we got it, I couldn't believe we could pump the creamed honey the way we do.
Mm. And then what you do is you pump that into like your actually you guys sell stuff in buckets, it seems like. Right?
We jars and buckets. Yeah, we're right out of 7 kilogram. That whole load will go into 7 kilogram pails.
So how many is that, Brad or Todd?
What?
Would you say pound wise?
7 kilograms?
Yeah.
Why are you
Let's
asking
see.
me that
A
question?
pound
I
is
have no idea.
let's see, a kilogram, that's 2.2 pounds, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I thought Charlie, you got the weather printed out on a piece of paper. You need to get the weight stuff printed out there.
Well, I used to be a paramedic. I mean, I used to have to do how many kilos to how many, for milligrams of pushing the IV drugs and stuff like that.
It'll be 15, 16 pounds, somewhere around there.
15.4 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
That's a pretty good size little container.
We
I'm
sell a lot.
going to keep my phone on Google just in case.
I just sat here and did it on the calculator here. I finally, it clicked in my old medical background.
We sell a lot of 7 kilogram. I'm just amazed. Like we had one lady take 6 pails, another lady come and took 10.
Yeah.
What,
And there goes your whole week's worth of work right there.
Yeah.
And now is that creamer? You can get more than just one batch out of that drum, I'm sure, right?
No, it pretty well holds the whole barrel.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And that's what is that? That's
He's got the big one though. He don't have the little one that we all buy.
I know he's doing about 45 gallons is what he's telling us. So, but a barrel is I'm thinking pounds, 640 pounds.
Our barrel's 45 gallons.
45 gallon barrel.
Yeah,
Okay.
our gallon's bigger than yours. So
Okay.
won't
All
be
right,
a
and
fan.
you must have smaller barrels than what we have for our barrels are 55 gallons.
well, your
Their
55
gallons actually are a different size than ours.
Your 55 is our 45.
Oh, okay.
But how many liters is it? Because that's probably how it's measured, right? Or
Gallons.
by gallons.
I measured. When I'm putting into the creamer.
Yeah. So a barrel, when you sell a barrel, do they say, okay, that's 1,000 liters, or do they do it another
No,
way?
they buy it by the pound.
So, see, that's why I couldn't go to the metric system. Half the crap you got in liters, and half of it's in pounds, and half of it's in kilograms.
Brad just said it's 650 pounds in a barrel
Yeah.
or a barrel.
So yeah, slow process. There's 4 beehives right there.
And what are they going for on the website?
$14.95.
Are you selling those by the pound or the
If I
kg
sold,
or what?
I sell them by the hour at this point. I mean, this thing takes a while.
Well, now you need to, you need to step the game up and make it a little bit bigger, make it twice the size.
Oh, I could make a bigger one.
Yeah, well, you got to make it as big as that one you had up there on the back.
Kid's toy. What do you want?
Oh, it's,
Or-
yeah, but you see, they're too small because they got to put them in their mouth and they'll choke. You got a choking hazard there.
And they got to choke. They got to put them in their mouth. So but you could drill a hole in the bottom and a hole in the top and just run a string through there or a ribbon, and now you got to.
Or you could drill a hole in the top and bottom and make a salt shaker out of it.
Salt shaker.
Yeah.
Be one a single for salt or a double for pepper.
You can always
Now you could have two deeps for salt and a deep and a medium for pepper.
Well, and then what are you gonna
That
do
way-
with the frames if you do that?
Well, get rid of frames.
you
You don't
know
need 'em.
you need, what you could do is you could print to scale a queen and then mark her a red dot for this year. And
Got her, man. She's inside the cover. You don't want to smash her.
that's not to scale though.
Yeah, well, she's a big queen. She's a good queen.
You'd have to glue her to one of those frames, otherwise
one
it
there
would be a choking hazard.
That one there looked like an Easter egg queen to me.
It's for a kid. What do you want, Charlie? I mean,
You got to put a red dot on that one.
Mm.
yeah, she doesn't. The only reason I know she's a queen and different from the other bees because she's got the little crown on her head. Other than that, I wouldn't be able to tell.
Mm.
Because the queen really, she's got a stinger, but is it that pronounced? Really?
Looks like a queen bumblebee.
It
Yeah.
does. Shh. You're gonna ruin it for me. Nobody will buy it now. That's a bumblebee hive. That's not a honeybee hive.
Oh, that's pretty good though, Bob. You should be able to.
I had to order more wood. I wasn't expecting that, so I printed out and I put it on Facebook, and people were like, "Oh, yeah, I'm interested in that."
It looks like you have an order already.
Do I?
Russell wants 100 of them.
The honeybee compound needs 1,000
1,000 of them.
next
We'll be-
week.
If you order 1,000, I'll be able to order a better laser to print them faster. That's what I'm saying.
How long? At this rate, how long would 1,000 take you?
Holy crap.
6
That-
months.
Hold on, I'll tell you exactly how many minutes it'll take.
Let me get my calculator going here.
It would take me 375 hours with my current setup. 375 hours.
Well, that's 2.5 weeks, or excuse me, 15 and a half days.
That's 10 weeks, man. That's almost 10 weeks.
375 hours?
Yeah, that's
I was doing
right?
375.
I can print 2 hives out every 44 and a half minutes.
That's slow.
Well, it's because it's got to print all the little bees on there, and then it's got to print all the little hexagons on the frame, and then you got to slow it way down to cut through the wood to cut the pieces out. So, yeah. But I got smart. I started printing extra frame rests. So, cutting extra frame rests. But, yeah, it's a neat little thing. Maybe I'll sell a few of them. Maybe I won't. If not, put some on my table, see what happens when people come buy honey.
There we go.
No, no. That way you can tell what year you made them. I could do anything I want to with these things. Or they'll just be on the shelf till next year. I could have made more if I wouldn't have made 4 or 5 of these boxes, the big boxes for the honey.
I have to start another batch tomorrow. I'm out.
Uncle Bob's Christmas beehive ornaments.
He's got to get them ready for Nobby.
Do what?
You have to get them ready for Nobby.
Nobby. You know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm not that excited about it. It's not like last year where I was all, ooh, can't wait to go to the conference. I mean, I just don't feel that way about it this year. I don't know. Maybe it's the twice as long a drive or the some other stuff that's going on right there. Could be any of that, but I'm just not super excited about it. And as far as deals, they got some deals, but I'm not going to pre-order it because I don't know if I pre-order the stuff to pick up at the show. Then for some reason something happens with my mom and I can't go pick it up. Then what happens? Right. So then it's an issue. So right now, I mean, that's why I don't have the
you don't have a hotel yet.
I don't have the hotel yet. I mean, it'll be a last minute thing. So therapy bees in them.
Yeah.
I could take those gold bees that I got from the other thing and put little gold bees in there.
Yeah. So, Doug, anything else happening in the bee honey area?
I treated 2 yards on Monday with acid.
With vapor?
Yeah, we got a +6 here, so I was able to do 2 yards again.
Yeah, I treated the yesterday morning with mine for the second time. I treated 2 weeks ago on a Sunday morning, and then Thanksgiving morning I treated again. I'm good for this month, and then I'll work on them next month, in a couple weeks. But what are you doing? Well, you got a pro. No, you said you had a local made vaporizer.
I got one of those from Georgie out in Alberta. Well, we have the ProVap too, but I don't use it. I have trouble with it. So
yeah, Norm wants to know how cold it is. It's what is it, 2 degrees or something up there?
It's a -15.
We're going to hit -15 tonight. We're about minus.
All right,
8.
that's 5 degrees Fahrenheit, 5F.
Yeah.
That's super cold.
It
Of course, with the low humidity, it doesn't feel that way, right?
Well, I don't know. And with the wind, it feels cold. It's colder than normal for this time of year.
Yeah, I would think so, especially with the wind and 5 degrees. I don't think I would want to go out there. Then you got all your different hives are kind of slid together, and then you put some type of wrap on there. Is in an insulated wrap of some sort?
Yeah.
Like a bee cozy?
Like a big bee cozy,
Something like that. Well, if they can, what's that? Like temperature autocorrect with that table he's got? I don't follow you, Brad.
Your chart.
I'm going to print up the weight side of the deal here. Next week we'll be set.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, autocorrect and everything.
No, it's just I got a print out here. That's all I can tell you. But No, I mean that kind of proves it to a fact that bees, the cold doesn't kill bees per se. I mean, if they can survive,
The cold doesn't kill bees. Bob kills bees.
yeah, well,
Well, the cold won't hurt them. It's surprising how cold it can get.
Well, it sure is noisy over at Bob's house.
yeah, that's
Can you hear the thing going?
Yeah,
It sounds like an old refrigerator ready to die.
But now is it better?
No, I can hear it. But it's better.
I turned my mic down. You come on once a week and just bitch the whole time you're here. What are you doing?
So do you call Fahrenheit standard? Is that what Brad's talking about? Yeah, I'm converting. If he says 5C, I'm or whatever it is, negative 15C. I'm converting over to English.
Don't go down the rabbit hole. He'll have you all twisted up over there, Brad will. Think he does it on purpose.
Then he talks about, he calls it imperial. I've never heard of the English.
Yeah, it's imperial measurement.
Yeah. Is that right? I never heard it called that.
Damn American imperialists.
I thought imperial meant something about Britain over there.
Well, that's where our measurement system come from. It's the British.
That's where ours come from. We got rid of them, though.
Yeah.
We got rid of them. We cut them loose.
That's right.
When the metric
why did we have the Revolutionary War if we want to go back to metric? That's why we got rid of them.
They didn't have metric.
We had the imperial system, well, ever since I could remember. When the metric come in, my dad was going to spray a field for weeds, and he went and bought the chemical. Read on the chemical, you had to put so many liters in so many liters of water. You had to travel at so many kilometers per hour at so many kilopascals pressure. He looked at that and said, I'm done farming.
Well, that's what Brad talked about, that when, I forget when you all switched over in the 70s or something like that. And
80s?
I
think it was the 80s, wasn't it?
I was quite surprised at you guys. I thought you guys had always been Celsius, but found out not.
No, it would have been in the 70s, I think. I was done school and it was still the imperial system anyway.
So what about this Gimli glider? He said,
The what?
I don't know. Norman wants to talk about some I don't know. Gimli glider. Is that how I'm pronouncing it right? I'm not the best speller. I ain't confused. I'm not confused, Philip. I'm just trying to make good conversation here, But
Gimli glider was a big passenger plane that ran out of fuel.
I do know what a Pascal is. That's called. We call that PSI, pressures per square inch.
What was that, Doug? The Gimli.
The Gimli glider was a passenger plane that had been fueled up improperly and run out of fuel not too far from Winnipeg. There was an abandoned kind of airfield at Gimli, Manitoba, and it landed there safely, saving everybody. So,
and it was a glider. You guys didn't have motors back then.
It a big passenger jet ran out of fuel and it glided in with no motors.
Wow.
Yeah.
I watched that on like Mayday air disasters or something like that.
Yeah, probably be on there, Bob.
Where they were talking about that one. That so it was an improper conversion calculation from imperial to metric, which made them not have enough fuel to get where they were going.
Yeah.
Wow.
Multi-talented brain up here with what I watch.
Well, see, that's the problem, Mary. You keep changing things around, it confuses everybody. That's what happened. Like I don't know what actually I'm not sure just what happened on that B-52 bomber that crashed and killed all them guys. I think it wasn't fuel. I thought it was fuel where they might put diesel or jet fuel in and with an old radial prop, but that's not what it was. I think it was poor maintenance of some sort.
Another thing that's confusing here, Charlie, are land measurements. A section, it is measured in feet and acres, and the metric system just doesn't fit that at all.
Meters cubed, like on a lot of apartments and stuff like that, where we'd have square feet.
Yeah, well, I mean, now see around here, you ask somebody where I live, they don't know what a section is or a quarter section or a half section. That's a Midwestern in the U.S. measurement because stuff is so big out there. And here, everything's acres, half acre, quarter acre, 3/4 of an acre type of thing for houses and stuff. And I think what is a section is a square mile, I think, is what out in the Midwest.
It's a square mile, 640 acres.
640 acres. And then a quarter section is what?
160.
150.
160.
Yeah, around here, farm wise, what's left of them, a pretty good sized farm would be 350 acres or 150 acres as far as like an original dairy farm, where they, before we did like Ian at his level, or there's farms like our farm, we were renting it out to another farmer where they were doing patches of land where they were farming, let's say 6,000 acres, but they moved their equipment from one farm to the next, to the next, to the next. They're constantly moving. And, that kind of a thing. But, it's, just kind of, a small farm up there is 1,500 acres. Well, you're out in the middle of the prairie, basically. You're in the same area as the United States prairie area. And all that.
Yeah, we got guys that farm 20, 30,000 acres here.
Yeah, and you got the machinery that, I've seen pictures of corn planters that are 50 rows at one swipe, and stuff like that.
Not much corn here. Canola, wheat. That's the two main crops. Getting to be lentils. Quite a few lentils growing now.
Hey, Brian. Tell me about the history of my sawmill. Well, my grandparents, along with my father, moved here in like 1928, I think it was. It's about 2 years before electricity. And it was a dairy farm. And they dairied up until in the 1950s, I think it was. And the building behind me that's got the rusty looking roof, that's the sawmill itself. That's a newer building of it. The original building, they built it like gamber roof, where it's kind of like up, and then like this. It's like 3 sections down. It's your typical sort of like round roof barn, but that's what it used to look like. And they put the sawmill in that. And now the idea of the sawmill was my father. And this is in the middle of the Great Depression. He was about 12 years old. And at that time, 12, 14 years old. And he came up with the idea of doing that. And they had rented a sawmill down the road here, a mile or so. I think it was 10 cents 1,000 board feet. And, drugged a lot. Back then, you didn't have hydraulics. So you put a sawmill in the woods on stumps, and you cut your lumber that way because you didn't have trucks at the time. They weren't invented. And a gambrel, that's it, Brad. And so they sold and rented that mill, and they were making money that way. And you didn't do much in the wintertime. It's kind of like the Waltons. If you ever watched them, it was pretty much like them. Farm during the farming season in the summertime, and then they sawed in the fall because they didn't have as much work to do. And then they built that building, and they built it that way. Oh, if the sawmill fails, no problem. We got a cow barn. And then the building behind me there where the white roof is, that was where the original barn was. And in 78 or 79, it was torched and it burnt down, and we built that building. Me and my brother did. Put that up. And then a couple years later, this tapered side barn, we built that and put that up. It's 50 by 80. And that's our hay barn. Now it's hay barn / lumber barn for our lumber that we buy it in now. Buy some of our lumber in. And we still had cows and stuff like that. And they were sawing lumber for the local farmers at the time. And the story, the one that my father always told, where they were sitting and they had just got done cutting all this timber out for this one farm, and here come two brothers at a neighboring farm, and they said, "Can you cut?" And they were out of work at the time as far as the sawmill goes, the way I understood it. And the Hess family, I think it was, came and said, "Can you cut us a barn out?" And they said, "Sure." So they cut that barn out. And from that point on, the sawmill got bigger and bigger and bigger and more busier. And they got rid of the cows. And we just kept on with the sawmill. It was became our number one income source. And now where I took this picture at, I'm on a tractor. This is the field above our place. It's sort of a slight hill, not a real hill, but it's up the ground rises. And that's some of our hay there. It's where it's kind of puffy looking. That's where we're raking the hay up, and I'm baling it probably my son's probably raking it, and I'm on a round baler, rolling it up, either that or a square baler, one of the two. And it looks like a square baler, so I can see some wagons over there in the distance and all that. So that's the history of us. So we're still farming. My son's taking the farm over. He's doing more than I ever did, buying hay in, reselling it. And our area is a big horse industry, hobby horse industry. So you got all these horse girls you got to deal with. And that's part of our lumber business, where we're selling sawdust for the horse bedding, shavings for the horse bedding, lumber for the, in the 70s and 80s, we were selling pony barns and then we're still selling lumber for that kind of stuff, along with the construction, trailer floors and things like that too. That's what we do.
What are you milling for lumber?
A lot of oak and poplar, mostly oak. A lot of trailer floors, a lot of dump truck sideboards, bridge floors. Got a call this week, 2 wedges, a foot wide, and I think 10 or 12 inches wide, and 2 foot long, or 4 foot long. But they want a wedge. We can custom where we can. They want it 5 inches thick at one end and want it tapered down to 0, so they can get these cars up on these, I guess, frame pullers in this one auto collision place. And then I got a 20-foot trailer floor we did this week for one of the construction guys, and things like that. We've sawed close to 500 8x8, 16 inches long, out of pine for boat blocking. We're close to the wood. We're close to the we're very close to Chesapeake Bay. I'm within 45 minutes or to a half an hour. I guess no more than about 45 minutes with traffic to the mouth of, or to the headwaters of the Chesapeake Bay that goes out into the Atlantic Ocean. So there's a lot of marinas around. So now it's wintertime. They're bringing boats in off the water and then putting them up, put the keels up on blocks. And then they have these jacks that go up and hold the sides for the boats to be stable and stuff like that. So we do all that. And then the one that the roof that is bright white behind me there, that back building, in there is where we have our dry lumber. We also sell, we started about 30 years ago. We've always catered to the local retail, or we'll say we're pretty much always retail. And so we put dry lumber in, and we start our own kilns, and we sell to the home hobbyist. And oak, poplar, cherry, walnut, maple, or hard maple. I buy that in from a broker that comes out of like Vermont and up north.
What's
Different-
your heat?
Huh?
What's your heat source for the killing drying?
Electric.
Is
We're one of those fortunate people. When they came here in 1928, there was no electricity. And then we're close to Baltimore. And it was like Comcast, internet service. They come knocking on your door. Would you like to buy internet service? Well, back then they were knocking on people's doors. Of course, this is a farming community at the time. Would you buy electricity from us from the Baltimore? Now it's Baltimore Gas and Electric, but it was called Baltimore Consolidate Electric Company or something like that, because they were putting electricity throughout the community at the time. And so we got 3-phase electricity along with 110 and all that. And we've never changed it. So our electric rates are, I'll say, today they charge you for having the commercial electricity plus what you use, where we're still underneath the old, I guess, contracts or whatever, where they charge for what we use and that's it. And it's a very low rate compared to I'm sure if we upped it, where we really need to, have more wattage, but, or amperage or whatever it is. And we just keep it, we run what we need. And, there's sometimes you can't run several machines at the same time. So you run, like you can't run a planer and a molder at the same time. You either run one or the other. But we don't have that many people running that, just me and my brother and one hired guy or 2 hired guys. So we're not drawing it down that low and stuff like that. But in our dry lumber building, we have a 30-inch planer, a 24-inch double-headed jointer planer where it flattens the board, which is pretty new, relatively new. We have a 16-inch jointer for a hobbyist, woodworking type thing. And then we have a 5-headed molder, a 40-inch wide belt sander, and a 24-inch wide belt sander. I don't do cabinet work. I can plane lumber for you. I can joint the one edge for you. That's like I keep explaining that to these home hobbyists. They come in and they want you more or less build it for them. I said, well, then I asked them, I said, don't you have certain basic tools, like a table saw? No. And I'm like, well, why did you entertain this idea that you're going to build something?
yeah.
Well, aren't you going to do this for me and this for me and that for me? I'm like, yeah, $200 an hour. That's not what I do. You take, I'll give you the lumber, you take it home, and then you be the cabinet maker. You build it. I get tired of dealing with that mentality. And then a lot of them come in and they look at a lumber pile there, and I had this one guy several weeks ago. He wanted a piece of lumber he wanted finished size with, let's say, 4.5 inches. And he needed 2 6-foot sticks. And he's just sitting there looking at the pile. I said, I asked him what he wanted, told me what he wanted. I'm like, well, right there is a board. It's 5.5 inches wide and it's 12 foot plus long. 12'6", let's say, enough that you could cut it in half with, having some extra to trim on the length, and then joint the one edge and take it home and cut it down. They haven't got a clue. Not a clue, and all that. So that's what I got to deal with a lot of. And that's why, like, some days I don't know, here a year or so ago, I got so darn mad at the darn customers. I'm done. I went and played in the bees for the rest of the afternoon. And I was like a better person after I played with my bees for 4 hours. I could handle them again, handle the people.
Yeah.
That's my story. That's what I do. We're still working at it, still farming. I kind of turned everything over to my son, and he's doing a great job and doing most of the work, but I still have to get out there and help him bale. He always needs that extra hand that's skilled, that knows how to run a piece of machinery without breaking it, and stuff like that. So, yeah, Brad, that's right. Pesky customers. Yeah. So, but that's, what we do. And I guess we'll just continue on until we can't continue on any more. But, like I say, been in the beekeeping, I guess, around 15 years now. And it's, sometimes it gets to be a little bit of work, but, other than that, it's sort of a hobby sideline business for me. And the biggest thing is like here, come January, this will be 1 year for me of being on the StreamYard. And I've met all you folks from all over the United States and Canada. And that's really what I enjoy, is the fact of the camaraderie that we've all become friends. And Nobby is one of those places where we converge. Kind of reminds me of the Western television stories of the mountain trappers, where they have the big rendezvous where they all come out of the mountains and trade their pelts and have a big party for a week. And to me, Nobby is kind of like that for us YouTube creators and beekeepers, that we can all get to meet each other and stuff. What's your opinion on OSHA? Not a real question. Mm-hmm. Well, it's like all those governmental safety things. Now, we're very safety conscious. We've gotten a little bit more safety conscious here in this past year. We're only one of 2 sawmills left in our county. And the other sawmill down the road, they had some young guys there, and I won't say that they're the most safety conscious sawmill. And one of them wound up dying this past summer due to a loader accident. And the guy who was killed, a young man at 20 years old, was told not to get on the loader and not to drive it, and he went ahead and did it. And it was one of them articulating machines, and the way I understand it, he's looking one way and he's swinging turning the wheel, which turns the front or the rear at different angles, and the bucket came around and smacked a elevator that was sticking up there, and it come falling down on top of him. But we're big on having the guards and, hearing protection, eye protection. I can't, nobody had to force us to do that. We started that years ago with like hearing protection for myself and everybody. And, you get used to wearing that. You can't stand the noise anymore. And doesn't matter what we're doing, whether I'm hammering a nail into a board, I got to have hearing protection on. So, and then we had guards and things. And then there's been accidents. When I was still in grade school, there was an accident where a coupler on a shaft at a sawmill that was in a woods someplace, guy stepped over it got him. It was horrific. And because there wasn't any shield. And So, and we've had, and there's other, you know, it's just like up in your area, there's been farming accidents and stuff with power takeoffs and stuff like that. Farmers are known around here. I'll just put a bolt in there instead of a shear pin, things like that. Catches your clothes. And I seen a safe, it was going to be, it was what it was kind of quite, it was comical, but it was, it showed what happened. And the guy was going to make a safety movie using a post hole digger on the back of a tractor. And they had a bolt instead of a shear pin in where that auger connects to the head. And that bolt, he had a t-shirt on and it was summertime. It caught his shirt. It's either a t-shirt. Now I guess it was a button down shirt, but it was thin cotton. And it pulled that shirt right off of him. And he was like, you know, within a second. And that it was all on video. And he said, this is what we're talking about. You know, he kind of joked about it, but you know, he could have lost his life then. So,
I saw Norman talking about those split ring tires and
yeah,
hubs.
we still have some of them on our trucks.
My uncle was killed by one of them things.
Yeah. I had a neighbor up the road where he got hit in the head like that. It didn't kill him or nothing like that, but he put some stitches in him.
Oh, it took the top of my uncle's head off, right on off.
Yeah.
He worked for Firestone. He was supposed to get off of work. And the guy that was supposed to relieve him, you know, he did the roadside deal for the tractor trailers. And the guy that was supposed to relieve him was running late. And they got a call and they asked him, would he take it? He said, yeah, I'll go take it. And while he was changing the tire, it exploded and took the top of his head off and killed him. So,
no gloves in the wood shop, Brad. In the sawmill, we wear gloves, you know, because it's cold. Yeah, we wear gloves in the wood shop. I mean, well, when you say wood shop, now we're talking about, I'll be sitting there feeding a planer, you know, and then the board's coming out the other end. You know, we're not, we do have a radial arm saw and stuff like that. But as far as like you, Brad, with your table saw and cutting, you know, small parts or whatever, we really don't get into that too much. I mean, we do. I don't have gloves on when we do that kind of stuff. You can't do it properly, and things like that. Most of our stuff is take a board and plane it, which normally we have you know, I'll take a pack of lumber. Like I needed walnut. So we had a couple packs of lumber there. We de-stick it and run it to the planer. And then you put it up on the shelf. We don't do any joining of edges or anything. Where ours is not serviced on all four sides. It's only serviced on two sides. Yep, that's for sure. Gloves around the lathe and the drill press. Yeah, we don't get into doing too much of that kind of work. I don't have a wood lathe or anything. I have a metal lathe for repairs. But you know, we do. I got like a Bridgeport mill, metal mill, and a lathe for doing repair work and stuff. And we have a 5-headed molder. I don't really get into doing a lot of moldings. I do a lot of, not a lot, but I'll get into doing tonguing and grooving stuff or shiplap. That seems to be the hot two sellers. And I don't really want to get, I did do moldings for a little bit when I first got my molder, but setup times and, you know, most people want 3 sticks, so you can't set that machine up for 3 sticks. You got to have big runs. I don't do all that stuff. What is a molder? You know what a molder is? A molder is, you take a board, you stick, it's got 5 heads. It's got 2 bottom cutters, a side cutter on each side and a top cutter. And you take a semi-rough board, but it's uniform thickness, uniform width. You put it in at one end, and when it comes out the other end, it'll be tongue and groove flooring with grooves on the bottom for the bottom relief cuts, all in one pass. Or you set it up, and I've had it set up for baseboard molding where you have the a flat piece, and then you have the OG configuration on top. You run a board through it. When it comes out, it's 3/4 of an inch thick. It's whatever the width's supposed to be, and it's got the Curly Q OG configuration on top, and you're done. It's a total production machine. And all.
Does OSHA require quite a bit of paperwork for you?
No, because we're family owned and we're under a certain, we only have 1 or 2 people working for us.
I spent 37 years in a potash mine, and like we had inspectors all the time, but a lot of it, you had to have training sheets show, this person, you showed them how to do this and that. And even in our honey house, that's what the federal inspectors look for an awful lot. We have to have all the sheets, when the machinery was maintained, how we showed this person to run this. And
yeah, you probably had 50 plus to over 100 probably people at that mine or whatever, if not more.
About 600 while I was there.
Yeah, well, there you go. When you're in that level, that's where the safety guys come into it. If you're family owned and you're under a certain amount of people, OSHA doesn't really come in. Now, if you have an accident like the other mill had, that's when they come in and inspect you and stuff like that. Yeah, I seen that planer that Brad talked about on the videos, and I'll say that was kind of like a motor planer and all. We have another machine similar to that and stuff. But years ago, I'll say 15 years ago, we used to have a lot of exotics, as I call it, like Jatoba wood, which is out of South America. There's a lot of Central South America type mahoganies and stuff. Everybody was in woodworking, there was a big fad. And then the fad got over. We got rid of all that stuff, sold out of it, and just kept with the basics is what we call it. Stuff that we do. Planer matcher, yeah. It could, probably it's a motor planer matcher. I think it's probably the same. And shiplap, etc. You had side heads on it. So that's what we did and everything and all that stuff. But let's get back with the bees.
Bees? What are those?
Well,
Well, if you keep bees, you have to be a woodworker almost.
That's true.
Yeah, I do. It's like I came up with an entrance reducer where I took a dado blades, and I made like 5 dental molding slits where they're 3/8 by 3/8, so the bees don't rub their wings and stuff like that, and they can go in and out. And then because they're spaced out, then the mice can't get in. And then I took that same principle idea and I said, you usually make a 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch stick, and then you put that in the entrance. And I always put 2 drywall screws on one on each end as a handle to pull them out. And sometimes, there's always a variation where you can't get that. The 3/4 inch is either a little bit shallow or it's a little bit more than what you can get into the hole of the way the bottom board might be made. And so I came up with an idea where basically it looks like a rabbit, where you have your slits underneath, 3/8 by 3/8, usually 5 or 6 slits where the bees can go in and out. It looks like a comb, like my finger sticking there like that. And then it's a little less than 3/4, so it'll slide in, and the front edge of that piece of wood actually hits the front of the box and stops it from sliding all the way back underneath the box. And all that. So I find that, and then it also still has the screws in it, and I find that to be really nice on on my hives. Let me see. I think I got my back picture. Might be able to see that. Let's see. Nope, nope.
Charlie, do you buy pine and make 1 by 12 by 12s and sell them to local beekeepers? That might be handy with a table saw. Is there a market for that?
Be quite honest with you, you can buy the lumber already processed, in boxes cheaper than you can make it
Oh,
yourself.
really?
People look at me, oh, you got all the equipment. I said, well, I don't have the hauncher. Most people don't know what that is. It's in order these box companies, the way they make those finger joints is they got an arbor spinning,
Mm-hmm.
and where the cutouts are carbide cutters.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some machines where they'll have a vise, a big, thick, high vise, and they'll put in, let's say, 6 boards in. They make sure it's, all perfectly even and everything. And there's this arbor, and of course, now the edge of the board is here, and then this spinning arbor goes down and up like that on a, it's big cast iron machine,
Mm-hmm.
like with the ways like a lathe, or a milling machine, and that cuts all those slots in there at one time. And of course, you're doing 6 boards at a time. And now they've got these little hand ones you can buy for about $4,000. You can stick the sides, like the end boards on one side and the sides of your box at another area. You pull the lever down and it goes. Jason from the Bohemia Bees has one of them, and he thought he was going to make his own boxes, and guess what he's doing? He's buying his own boxes. He wants to sell that machine, I believe, now, and all that. But I make, I don't know. I had some of my nukes behind me there. I had some bottom board. I need to do some repairs on them. I did that kind of stuff, and I do the entrance reducers. On my cell builder, I have an inner cover where I made some holes that fit my juice jars for sugar water. And so that's, for just on my cell builder and stuff like that. And of course, the racks underneath there, I made them myself. They're just out of oak, and I planed the 2 sides, but I left the tops rough to keep them from sliding around. And that kind of stuff, and all that. And then, but I don't know, you can't see those a close up to that or nothing. I'll have to maybe bring one of those entrance reducers on some night, show you. But I had another guy that has that, the keeper's hive. He had the same identical, dado cuts and all that. And I said, George, I said, you copied me, I said, I had them way before you ever had them. And then, but I, like I say, since made them kind of like a rabbit cut on the back end of them. They make them even more convenient for me to be able to take them on and off. But I don't seem to have any mice problems either. I don't know whether that's because I'm up on top of a racking system there or just what it is. So, but
we don't have much mice problem either, but we put poison under the pellets every fall.
yeah. I don't think I've ever really had a mouse, actually in a hive. I found, a lot of folks.
Hey, dear.
Who's making all? Is that me making all that noise?
No, that's Bob's machine.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even hear it.
No biggie, man. No biggie.
Yeah, Brad. I mean, that keeper's hive thing, when I didn't even know you, I got on your site and you had that 2 queen hive with that center stack going up, and actually that was one of the hives this guy made first, and I tried it, and we had talked about it in other events where you had, when you have 2 queens like that, you have queen issues all the time. And like you guys have those 3-way nuke box hives, and always the center box might be goes queenless on you because of the issues. At least that's what they've been told. So Darren, what's happening up your way?
It's cold up here.
Did you did you go to the Penn State Beekeepers Association meeting?
I did not. I did not go to that. I figured I was going to the one down there. What's his name came in, so I wasn't going to go to the one at Penn State, but I didn't make it.
Yeah, I looked at that that show, and I didn't see any topic there that I didn't already know something about it. You know, it wasn't going to be anything. There's Joseph. There's
Hello.
everybody.
Hey, Joseph.
So you know, and I looked at the price of it, and I said, forget it. And then one of my beekeeping girls in our club went up. She's from Pennsylvania also, and they were sit down at the table eating lunch, I presume. And Frederick Dunn, you know, sat down with his wife and trying to communicate with him, you know, and was talking about, you know, Nobby and kind of pumping it up and all that kind of stuff. It was kind of amusing. I kind of wish I was there. I said I would have, of course, he doesn't know me probably, but I would have said something to him. I was, well, hell, Fred, how you doing? You know, like, who's this guy? You know, he's probably thinking in his head.
Did she have any comments about it? Did she like it, or is it worth it? The only one I wanted to see there was Randy Oliver, but I think he's going to be down there, right? In Kentucky,
I'm not sure. I've seen, I don't know. I guess, I mean, if you're at a level where you don't know a lot of different information, it's a good show. You know, you're gonna, I mean, that's what I've done over the years. I went to all those local shows and then went to Hive Life, and now I'm going to Nobby, you know, and
right.
The local shows were bringing all that information in to me, and I was absorbing it and trying to apply it. My big thing about all them shows is it useful in the apiary? You know, it's like I got a thing here for EAS. It's coming to Maryland. And I'm like, I looked at what they've come up with so far. They haven't finalized all the different topics, but they got 3 or 4 science guys on there. I recognize 1 or 2 of the names, and I'm like, okay, so what? It's like that, you know, I guess you're so used to YouTube and you listen to all these. If you're not a YouTube science guy or go on YouTube, and there's one I'm on there that's actually over there at the National Honeybee Survey or in England. And I was listening to him to get an idea of what he was about. Yeah. But I don't know. It's just
Lawrence Connor. He was up there. Is it Connor or O'Connor? I think it's Lawrence Connor. He was up there at Penn State and doing. He was doing a presentation on like how to make $1,000 per hive or something like that. And I thought I wouldn't mind seeing that. And then I thought, you know, we talk about that every week, a couple of times a week here on YouTube. You know, so I'm sure like he probably didn't have a whole lot of.
Oh, what's his first name? Brad. Larry Connor. Larry. I now see. I've seen Larry down here at the Maryland State meeting. You know, and he's been in beekeeping a long time and all that kind of stuff. And I'll say this: when let's say he talks about that subject, it's going to be an overview of that. The possibility of making $1,000 per hive.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I'll look at it this way. You really want to get the inside track on something like that. You want to talk to somebody like Brad that's doing it for a living, you know, that knows the ins and the outs
Right.
not some
Yeah.
science guy that's going to do 3 hives and this is how you could do it or something like that.
I think Connor only
And
has
there's a lot
12
of
hives.
theory about how it works.
Oh, that's what I
There's a
say.
lot of theory about how it works.
It's all theory,
Right.
you know. And just like the chat I was on right before, and we were talking about rocket fuel, you know, and these guys were oblivious. I said, y'all don't know what it is because you've never been on YouTube. You know, and and then I told them, I said, I had bees from the bottom board to the rooftop and overflowing like a volcano. I have never had bees like that before. Usually if I have 3 medium boxes, they're up in the 2 top mediums and the bottom medium's empty. And if you have 2 deeps, they're all up in the top deep box and pretty much the bottom deep is empty. Before you used, I used Apis Biologic, and then these guys are trying to downplay me. Oh, it was a better year this year and all this. I says, you can sit there and downplay all you want. I says, I know this stuff works. You've never tried it. And I says, main thing, let me warn you, you better be in them boxes early because you're going to, and be on top of it or they're going to swarm on you because that's how many bees are going to be in your box.
Yeah, I remember when you opened those up in the spring, how that was pretty crazy. Those bees.
I was totally blindsided for the amount of bees that I was getting that year. Now I'm doing I'm completely revamping the way I approach that hive the first time in the spring about adding boxes and all this kind of stuff. But those guys tonight, they were trying to downplay it. It was the season. It wasn't the product. I said, BS. I said, what you're talking about. And I had one guy who's an engineer and he's reading all the ingredients in it and all this stuff, And I says, and he had 2 or 3 ingredients names that he didn't even understand what they were.
He couldn't help himself.
A BBQ to complete the EAS big party at the Sawmill. But, he didn't know what I said. This guy, the inventor of this is not going to sit there and tell, everything about his secret recipe.
Right.
Yeah. I said, all I can tell you is what I experienced and it works.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I tried it this year. I started using Apis. So I'm anxious to see what happens in the.
Well, I feed in the fall. I told them, like I tell everybody else, I said, this is the best way I describe it. You take your sugar water and you put the Apis in it. And in my mind, this is how I explain it. It turns it into nectar. It has all the properties of what nectar has in it. And bees survive off of sugar water. They thrive off of Apis when it's in sugar water because it's nectar to them as far as I'm concerned. I might be wrong on that, but that's the way I see it. But they couldn't. Huh?
That's what he's going after. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Yeah. Well, you try to these.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, these guys on this other chit chat, there are most of them are like 2-year-old beekeepers. One of them's like, she's got 10 years and she's like a first-year beekeeper for the last 10 years. She don't even what knobby is. And I was like, okay, whatever. But well, no, she didn't know it all. She don't know anything. That's the problem. And I tried to explain to him, and I had this one other guy. He's a friend of mine, and he's trying to downplay. And I says, I'm sorry, but I can't agree with you that at all. It isn't the weather. Oh, last spring it was good for everybody. I says, I have never had bees like this before. I said, it's the only thing I've changed.
Do most of those people watch your videos, Charlie? Do they engage in your online here with you? Or
I got a couple of ladies that come on that are tired. They've progressed in their beekeeping skills and they're beyond that chat anymore. They get tired of listening to them because they talk about stupid stuff.
Yeah.
They talk about the upper entrance, that rabbit hole and versus condensing the hive with a thermal, being no upper entrance and stuff like that. And I sit there and I says, people, will you educate yourself? I said, I had guys come into my club that we pay that show how that all works. Engineers or whatever, or science folks. It gives you, at least you have the knowledge about it and all that. But they were, like I
So
say, they were
Charlie,
down playing rocket fuel, and I just like I stood my ground. I said, you all know, you don't have no experience with it and all. What do you want to say, Brad?
well, I want to kind of rewind here a few minutes, just kind of when I jumped in, because we were talking about that two queen system just for a moment,
Mhm.
and your comments were not untrue, but I think they were a little overstated. It's not that I always had queen problems. Um,
Well,
the issue
I had
was that if yeah, the issue was that if a hive wanted to requeen during the honey flow, there would often be too much pheromone from the other side, and they just didn't
wouldn't do it.
carry through.
I had two of them,
And
hives, and
and that being the case, and that was kind of why I dropped it. But
yeah,
what I was kind of pointing out was, and I don't want to disparage anybody. However, I also, don't want anybody to get caught up in too much Kool-Aid. Um, that nifty invention really does nothing that system wouldn't do. Now I know what I was doing was a two queen system, but you don't have to do that. You could do it with one box and just that half size honey super with a queen excluder. When I did that, I could access all 10 frames in that brood chamber through the one half side. Now, 5 of them came out really easy. Actually, the sixth one was pretty easy too. But what I had to do is I had to use my J hook hive tool and go in under the ear and pull the ear back toward the
all right.
side that then I could lift the frame out. So all I'm just kind of wanting to point out is that this you don't need to get that complicated to achieve something like that.
I
It's a
ran
half size
his,
lid and a half
yeah,
size box is really what you're
right.
looking at there.
I ran his. Well, I had a configuration like yours, and he made that box, where you could pull the frames underneath and all that stuff. My biggest problem was every time I turn around, the stupid queens um, were dying on me and stuff like that. Is there something going on, or is that somebody else's?
Not me.
And
I mean,
so I gave up on it because there was so many queen issues that I had, and I just went back to what I have right now. And that was another thing they were talking about. I said they were asking me why I wanted a bunch of bees. I said, I told them, I said, I see a lot of videos. People say, "Oh, I got all these bees in here," and I'm looking, I'm like, where? All I see is frames. There were 6 bees walking on top of the frames. I said, I want to, I said, you open my hives up, all you see is bees, no frames, because there's that many bees in there. And they were saying about the population going into the winter, and you had more bees because there was more nurse bees that, they had all these different excuses over having apis in there. And I'm like, nah, apis, they
Deal with it.
thrive. They thrive off of that stuff.
Can we highlight Alex's comment there? This is kind of why I
Which,
wanted to jump in
this
and
one
make that
here?
comment. Um, I don't want anybody to be scared off of that system because it's not that you start to have a lot of queen problems, and it's not that you can't requeen a hive. It's that if a queen dies on one side of a shared system, then the pheromone is still fairly pungent, and they generally have trouble actually following through and creating emergency cells. But
All right.
I don't want to scare anybody off of the system. You just have to be aware of that.
All right. So Alex has, as I call it, the Michael Palmer hive, where
Like a double
it,
five. I
it's a
call it
double
double five.
five. It's well, actually, it's 4.
They're fours, yeah.
They take a deep box, they
Are
put a
his fours?
divider in it, and then they put 4 frames, and then you can put 2 supers
Yeah.
on top of that, 4 frames and 4 frames, which are 2 individual boxes. Better B sells that. I looked at that when when Mike was putting that out, and people were jumping on it and all, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, if you have a problem in one of the sides of that box, well, how are you going to clean that box out and get rid of the dead bees or whatever without scooping them out?
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Yeah.
Huh?
Not only that, but
That's
if you
the
have
problem.
if one side is just like overpopulated and you open that box up, then they'll just overflow into the other side. And I run a couple of those, and they create such a mess at times. I'm actually gonna try and separate
Well,
them in the spring.
that's why you're running 2 covers, and you're running anything above the bottom box is a single box, right? So I mean, so you'll have a 10 frame box with a divider in it on the bottom, and then above that you have separate boxes. You have small boxes that are 4 frames. So you don't have multiple 10 frame boxes with dividers in them stacked up. So you should never have the situation where you have, if you don't want this situation, if you don't want to open them both up, then don't, because you can either open the lid on one,
Yeah.
or you can open the lid and you can take the boxes off one side.
Yeah.
So that's, you're right. If you tried to put multiple 10 frame boxes that have dividers in them, then yeah, as soon as you start lifting boxes, then I mean, if they're just honey supers, who cares? But you know, you don't want the chance of
Yeah.
queens jumping over. The queens don't really jump over like you think may think they do. They could happen, but I don't think it's really that much of a danger. But that's generally not going to happen with the way that that they do it.
Now, Peter, what problem? I'm sure I missed it because I was looking at comments. What problem did you have with your double nukes? Was it because of the cleaning them out? That was the other thing. Like back to what I said. If one side dies out and you need to clean that area out, and you got the other side full of bees,
That's
I
Charlie. That's
found
exactly why I
I
sold
found that to
mine.
be a
I don't.
problem.
Yeah, I don't like multiple chamber boxes for
Yeah.
exactly that reason. I've used a
So
lot.
I never, because after thinking about that and whatever, that's why I just kept with my single nukes.
So Brian says I have a bunch of Mike Palmer style double nukes. Center divider is thick, so no queen issues. Okay, I have a question for you. Are you using shared honey supers, Brian? Because the thickness of that divider really should be irrelevant. Because that's not where the pheromones are kind of mingling. It's if you're using shared honey supers. So you have you have a double 5, then you put a queen excluder over that, and then you put a single 10 frame honey super on that, which works. That works just fine. But that's where you end up with the shared pheromones, not if you run single boxes. All the
Yeah,
way up.
exactly what happened to me.
I think his comment is right there where he uses them as mating nukes, 3 frame mating nukes, and then he puts a frame of feed in there, which is 4
Yeah, it's not a
frames.
problem unless you're using shared honey supers. That's where the problem comes in, because you can get, the pheromones can kind of.
Yeah, I have enough
be detected
small
when
full
stuck
frame
together.
boxes to avoid shared supers. That's I'm not doing that next year.
Yeah, so you're fine that way. You don't, it's the shared honey super issue is what causes the problem, not
Yeah,
because
'cause,
they're close together, or anything like that.
I introduced the queen and then, stat. I had to take out the queenless. Like, it was pretty easy because there wasn't that much of a mess. I just removed the frames with the queenless, took a queen right, transferred everything there. Problem solved. I just swapped basically 2 colonies.
Russell asked a question. I imagine she might, I suppose. I've used them a lot for mating and they seem to work okay.
Yeah, but isn't the Palmer hives where the entrances are opposite of each other?
Palmer's are opposite ends. Yeah, I made mine on the same side, but yeah, his are on opposite sides.
Yeah, and then you were also saying with that, Brad, that you did have a queen mating issues with that because you had both of them Your two hives are side by side at the same. Your
No,
percentage was low.
no. Well, it may have affected that, but it was still good. Um, my it's a guess. It's a theory I have,
Mhm.
and it's
Okay.
not because the entrances are side by side. Okay. Um, and if anybody really watches my videos kind of closely to see how my apiary is set up, I have. I'm going to pretend like you're looking from an airplane. Okay. So you see my two pallets like this. If you're looking from the top, you see my two pallets, and each pallet has two hives. So there's two hives here and there's two hives there, right? Now those two pallets are about 18 inches apart, and the entrances face each other. So the entrances are on this side. Okay, so the entrances are kind of in and around the corner and facing each entrance is close to three other entrances. And I think that is reducing my returning mated queens success in that situation, just because then that's just a theory, but I've had some pretty bad success with OTS, with post swarm requeening, emergency cell requeening. I've had pretty poor success with that in that configuration, and that's what I think is causing it. I haven't done any other real experimentation to see if I can turn that around. However, before I use this system, I actually had pretty good success, so I assume that that's the problem.
Yep. But
Hey,
so go ahead, Todd.
one thing, just to kind of rewind again back to Apis. I've said it, I don't know, 10 or 20 times on here, but that stuff really, really sparks those queens up.
Which
I mean,
reminds me, I need to order some more.
Your hives will explode in the spring. It's just amazing. And like Charlie said, he's never had so many bees in his boxes. Same here. I mean, that stuff just
It works.
it sparks that queen up, and she just goes to town. The bees have great nutrition from it. They're feeding all the larvae. They don't cannibalize hardly anything, I guess. And I mean, it just on and on. And they're packed. So much so, Charlie, that I have my thoughts about not feeding it if and when I have to feed this winter. And the reason why is if the queen starts producing more, and I know there's a certain amount that are not going to make it. They're gonna cannibalize that, but there's going to be more in that brood nest, which ultimately will have to eat something, right? So I'm kind of going on the side of just feeding regular sugar water and then sparking them up in like February, because I don't want to end up with starving bees in February, because that's the month for me where I'll go back and I'll open the hive, and one day there's a bazillion bees in there, and then 3 days later they're dead because they starved out. So
Yeah, my batch of Apis went bad, and I thought of ordering more, but I decided against it because of what you said. I don't want to have too many bees in the hive in the fall. I just want they were already like boiling over when I closed them up.
yeah.
I didn't want them to get any stronger, so I'm gonna keep it for spring.
But yeah, that stuff's amazing. So and it's just got me on the fence about winter feeding with it. I know Ian does it. Ian I think does it before he puts them in the shed. And Brad, you do it too, right?
I have been, yeah.
Okay, but you're not worried about bigger nests inside the shed eating too much food?
Well, I consulted my mentor on that, and
I'll
yes,
be
I
back.
am. Right, I am, and that's why I consulted my mentor on it. And what he advised was, he said, you generally do 2 rounds of feeding, because I use a 2.5 gallon pail and I want to feed 5 gallons of syrup.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it in the first one,
Oh, okay.
right? And then I don't put it in the second one. Now, maybe I should put it in the second one, because the second one generally is stored, and the first one is,
Consume.
I shouldn't say it's all consumed, but
Most of it.
probably a lot more of the first pail is consumed than the second one. But
Okay, here's
who
another.
knows? But yeah, you know what? That's a good comment, because yes, it does concern me. I don't
Yeah.
want to ramp them up.
And that's not a bad thing, but it just goes to show the strength that Apis does have. Because I mean, if you have to think
Well,
about it.
here's the question that I posed to him. Okay, so here's the question I posed to him. I said, on one hand, the science is telling us, and this is my climate I'm talking about. My bees are sequestered for 5 months. They can't poop, right? So the science tells us that pure sucrose is the best feed for them to store and consume over the winter because of that, right? So what Apis Biologic is telling us is that the addition of this product makes the sugar syrup into nectar. Well, there's a conflict there. The science is saying, don't feed them nectar, feed them sucrose.
Yeah.
So that was my big question. What am I doing? Am I taking what we're supposed to do and then adulterating it with something that we're not supposed to do? I'm not saying that it's a bad product. It's a fantastic product, but I think you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them eating honey. I don't want them eating nectar. I want them eating sucrose, because it's clean and pure and makes, allows them to live without pooping. So now I'm adding a product in there that might be, putting some more solids in it that's maybe going to make them want to poop. So who knows, right? That's the whole thought process.
Oh, let me get your thought on this. So, well, first of all, I'm obviously in a totally different climate than you, where I might get the coldest part of the year is going to be between Christmas and New Year's, and that's -4°C, usually. This year, who knows? If it's a regular year,
Can I
yeah.
get some of that?
Well, my point is, or my question is this: do we know how much moisture comes off a 1-to-1 mixture? I mean, I know 2-to-1, there's less water, but how much? And if it's in a small batch, how bad is that going to be? Like if I fed half a gallon.
So are you saying
to a
if they have to dry down 1-to-1, is that what you're saying? If they have to dry it down to store it?
Yeah, so
Well,
they got to go
yeah,
from
but they're also
50%
gonna-
water to about 17.
Well, if
That's
it's
a lot of water.
I believe the wisdom says that nectar is about 80% water, isn't it? And so they need to go from 80% to, below 20, say.
Well, but also factor in my environment too. It's it's not going to get that cold in the wintertime. So I'm wondering if I could get away with well, I know I could get away with 2-to-1, but I'm wondering if I could get away with 1.5, because you brought up the thing about they might consume more on that first round. So if I'm giving them 1.5, there's not that much for them to dry out. But even if they didn't consume it, how much are they going to dry out with even 1-to-1?
Well, if I'm considering that what I want the bees to do is store this, I'm going to make it as thick as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Make it the easiest to store, because they still have to dry it down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably still taking 20 or 30% of the water out of it.
We don't use 2-to-1 until our very last round of feeding. We feed 1-to-1 as long as we can to keep them producing brood, so we have maximum number of winter bees.
Mhm.
And then the last round, we will try the 2-to-1 to fill up so they can backfill and shut the queen down.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's what
So
we do.
typically, Doug, how when does that conversion take place typically? Like, would that be early October?
We'll be about the middle of October, we'll put the 2-to-1 on.
Interesting.
Kind of hoping the forecast is good and follow through with it.
Yeah.
And see,
This year it kind of caught me.
Yeah,
So then, how much 1-to-1 are you typically using per colony then?
probably
You
about
might,
3 gallons, probably somewhere around there.
gee, because that's no more than the amount of 2-to-1 I use.
Yeah.
see the whole reason why I'm asking this question is condensation. You know, the saying is, cold's not going to kill bees, wet will kill bees. So
Yeah.
how much condensation am I going to create in a box with 1.5 to 1? You know, and can I get away with it in my environment where you know, it's not freezing cold outside 3 months out of the year? You know,
We use top entrances, so they're venting all the time.
Mhm.
And then through the winter, we'll have a ring of frost around the top entrance. So there's humidity coming out all the time there.
So maybe I missed it, Todd. What is your version of just simply using thick syrup, 2-to-1-ish?
Oh no, I don't. I'm just kind of, you know, just kicking it around.
Okay.
I mean, because we don't know the rate of condensation. Period. I don't think.
Well, that's a lot of variables to that for sure.
And that's why I kicked in my environment. I bet I could get away with it if I did 1.5. You know, I don't know.
I want to go back to aphis. This is the first year we fed it in the fall, but last spring we fed it. We had a yard with 50 hives. 25 got out the feed with it. The other 25 didn't. There was no difference, but
Really?
it could be because of the spring we had. It wasn't a normal spring here. The thing that caught us, we had clover like I've never seen before. It come in early. In June, we put on 2 boxes usually just to make room for bees. This year, when we put 2 boxes on, they were plugged before the end of June. So,
Wow.
you know, those hives got it fed earlier with natural pollen, natural nectar. So maybe that's why we didn't notice a difference with the aphis, but we still fed it this fall.
I don't know. I was just
Do you
kind of
feed-
thinking outside of the box. That's all.
Do you feed in like April and May, Doug?
Yeah. If the weather gets good in April, we'll unwrap and start feeding then.
So were you using
This
aphis
year
then?
this year it was later. We were probably into the early part of May before we unwrapped.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it doesn't work, and I'm saying we're still using it because I think that
No, that's some sound logic, it seems, because you had
Yeah.
you know, some kind of nectar flow.
I've never used that Apis Biologics. About what does it cost per hive to feed it?
Oh, Bob's done the numbers on that.
yeah, it's
About maybe $1.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
It's the package.
No.
The package you
Right.
can add to 50 gallons. I think it's $25. I think.
Yeah.
So it's not much at all.
That's pretty cheap.
For $60, you can do 265 gallons. But you can't buy it from this guy anymore, so I'm just know the numbers.
Actually, it's what, 275 in it, Bob?
Do what?
1,000 liters is 275 in it.
I think I did the math. It was like
265, I think.
Yeah, 265. The reason I was off here, I didn't want y'all to see me noshing on a turkey leg while I was sitting here. So,
How come you don't sell it anymore?
Didn't get enough yesterday, eh?
well, you get Thanksgiving, then you get second Thanksgiving and third Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving sandwiches and
yeah,
Alex.
Turkey casserole.
That's
Big gumbo.
Hey, Brad, did you have a good Thursday yesterday?
I had a good Thursday. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah,
I had
Joe,
leftover Chinese food from Wednesday, so that was nice.
Joey, yeah, I buy the bigger pack. I sat down here. That's one of the questions they asked me about with that pack. Like
Something's wrong with
27.
your microphone, Charlie.
Sounds like you're underwater there, Charlie.
Really?
There you go.
Well, not anymore, I guess.
I don't know. But it sounded like, let's see, I think it was 27 cents a gallon is what I figured out, something like that.
Yeah, it's still worth it.
I'm going to breakfast in the morning with Paul from Hale Hives. He's going to be in town, so we're going to meet up and go to breakfast on his. I guess while he's riding, he's going to stop on his way home.
But it's something that I don't feed in the springtime, so I feed in the fall, and that's it. I mean, different people have different ways of doing it, depending where your location is.
I feed early, like in February.
I don't
going.
Todd, I don't think you'll have a moisture problem. I mean, hell, it only rains like twice a year over there.
Yeah. You know what? I took off my foamies this year because in the past several years, when I when I lift those lids up and those foamies are on there, I have to lift them straight up. If I turn them, I just give the bees a shower because all the condensation they create with that thing on there. I know it's still going to have some in it anyway, but boy, there's an awful lot of water that goes down on it.
I think your temperatures overall are kind of like mine here because we're kind of like on the same parallel. I just get a little more rain. I fed them all winter long last year. Open fed all winter.
But what did you feed?
1 to 1.
1 to 1. See.
Got to make that stretch.
Todd, I was going to tell you, he wasn't really a mentor to me, but he was the president of one of the clubs down here. And he fed in the spring and he fed in the fall if they needed it. And his was the same all the time. It was 1.5 to 1. That's the way he did every one of them. So, he didn't change from 1 to 1 and then 2 to 1. He stayed 1.5 to 1. And it worked for him. And he was in South Louisiana, so.
Did you see Bob Benny's video a couple of times ago? He was talking to the fellow. If the hive humidity is above 80%, the mites can't reproduce.
I didn't hear that.
He says it's well documented. I didn't know it, but that's what he claimed anyway.
Wow.
Now, M&J Habit, he wants to know who's selling it now. I presume Man Lake is, Bob? Or
What?
Apis?
Yeah, you can get it from the Bee Supply. You can get it from Hillco. You can get it from Johnny at Tennessee Mountain Bees. You can get it from Tim at Southwest Ohio Bees. You can get it from Hidden Hollows, Apiaries, Hooper's Creek. Who else can you get it from? Dancing Bee. There's a lot of people are carrying it now.
Are you not going to carry it at all, Bob? You done with it?
Not by choice, but yeah, I am. At least at the moment. So I've got just a few packs left. mostly stuff to go in pollen sub, which most people are buying their patties with it in it now. So, matter of fact, I saw that at Nobby they have global patties, but they're only doing the 5% patty this year. So that's interesting development. They didn't do both of them, but I love the product, just not selling it.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard something about, I don't know whether it was true or not, whether it used to be, was it 15% last year pollen in the global, and you had the other ones were, I think it's 4%.
Is
And
it
they
4%?
somebody, I don't know whether it was a sales pitch or whatever, but they didn't see any difference as far as consumption goes. I don't know whether.
I don't know. I got those the New Man Lake ones, the plus patty that's got, I think it says 5%, and they ate it. Man, they ate the heck out of it. And it could just be the time of year that I put them on, right? Like when I came back from the show a few weeks ago. So
Sourwood's got it. He has it.
Yeah, he's got it too. If you're in Virginia,
Does he ship it?
I'm sure he would.
Okay.
No, I don't have winter. I mean, winter, it'll be 34 degrees tomorrow night. That's about as winter as we get. Got somebody else down in the bottom down there, Charlie.
Yeah, I got him.
Oh, that's nobody.
Oh, thanks, Bob.
No, that's Mick Nobody.
Mick Nobody?
Old Mick Nobody.
Is that a new McDonald's meal?
Well, the market's all done for the night.
Nice. Y'all sell out?
I sold out of all of my creamed honey. Yep.
Nice.
How much moolah did you make?
Not enough.
It's never enough.
But yeah, no, and the 4-Hers did quite well there as well. So. But,
So is that whole sale, all that's going to the 4-H then?
all of that sale goes to the 4-H club. Yep.
Nice.
So, and then, so they have it all day tomorrow as well. So, I will supply their table tomorrow, with honey. So we'll make sure that they've got lots of honey there for the whatever duration they'll have tomorrow. So. But that's the big market for Sexsmith. So Sexsmith is a little town north of, I'm going to say 15 minutes north of Grand Prairie. So it's one that is always well attended by the local and the farming population out there, as well as the all the everybody from the town of Sexsmith. So all the residents come out to that sale, which works really well too. So.
That's probably anything in the town, right?
No. Actually, they've actually got a real vibrant community out there. So, but I mean, this is their big Christmas craft sale, right? So, you end up with everything under the sun out there.
So, were there any idea of how many attendees there were?
They keep track of that. We'll find out. All of us that have a table there will find out. At the end of tomorrow, they usually send an email out saying how many there is there. If I had to guess, I'm going to say we probably had, I don't know, 300 people tonight.
That's nice.
So
I mean, it's just about all of them bought some creamed honey.
we did well. So interesting enough, the cinnamon honey took the longest to go.
Really?
The honey butter disappeared first, so that was gone really quick. followed by the lemon pepper honey, and then the which one was after that? I guess it was the peanut butter after that, and then everything else just kind of all went more or less at the same time.
So now, did you have to give out tastings in order to get them to buy?
I didn't. I had everything there ready to do it, but no, they took one look, and they had now a lot of it. I think may have been repeat customers. So and people weren't buying one; they were buying 2 or 3 or 4 at a time.
Really?
Nice. Wow.
So
Well, they knew it helped the 4-H as well. So
correct. So that's what I was up to tonight.
Well, that was fun to watch. It's always good to see like new beekeeper getting trained.
You know, they're doing really well. In fact, Kara lost a bet tonight. So we were getting close down to the end, and I forget what we had for time left. And she's like, "Oh," she says, "we might as well close up. We're not going to sell anything." I says, "Absolutely not." I says, "You need to have faith in your product." And she says, "Well, there's nobody coming through." And I says, we're still going to sell at least 4 jars of honey." And she's like, "You think?" And I says, "Yeah." She says, "No." She says, "I don't think so." So we made the bet. So the bet was if I could sell 4 more jars of honey, she would learn how to graft queens next year.
So you bought 4 jars of honey from her?
Oh no, I didn't even have to. I think we sold another 12 from that time on. So we did quite well. So
I never close up shop early.
No,
we did a market in the summer of 2022. The market closed at 10 o'clock, and we couldn't stop selling honey until 11.
Good.
Yeah.
And because all the other vendors packed up and went home, and we couldn't. There was people lined up.
Well, you know what we found tonight, Brad, is after they closed the doors, everybody left. The other vendors were coming around and buying honey.
Yeah, for sure.
So the vendors were supporting the vendors, which was really good too. So, and the meadery, so Christiva, so she got another bunch of buckets tonight from me as well. So I took the back of the truck was full of buckets. So I took that out to her too. So she was buying some of my premium clover alfalfa honey. She buys that in the 60-pound pails. So that I delivered that truckload too. So that worked out well. So,
well, that's a good sale at 5 something a pound.
yeah, $5.93. So
nice.
No, $5.39. Sorry, $5.39, not $5.93. So it just goes to show know your market, cater to your market, and don't be afraid to get out there and try something new.
Yeah.
Are you going to try more recipes for your flavored honeys?
Well, I still have more recipes for my flavored honeys. I understand you guys actually had a flavored honey night. I hadn't had a chance to go back and watch that one yet, but I'm just stopping by the store here right now. I do have access to a commercial kitchen first thing in the morning, so that commercial kitchen has multiple commercial mixers. So I've got a bunch of creamed honey at home. So first thing in the morning, I will probably be making up another, probably 15 to 30 gallons of flavored honey for tomorrow's market. So tomorrow's market opens at 10 and goes till 5. So.
Is it expensive to rent a professional kitchen to mix those?
Well, no, actually, it's so A, I have my food safe, and B, they're a friend of mine. They're closed down on the weekends, so I have access to the commercial kitchen on the weekends if need be. So I mix up larger batches then.
What are they, like a restaurant or something?
They are, yep. So,
Should have said, yeah, it cost me almost as much as it cost to sell it. Might be
Hey, what?
some IRS or something around here, tax collector.
so
Yeah,
but,
break even.
It's all above board. Don't worry. So, so yeah, no, it was a great evening. Those markets are always fun too. Just talking to people and everything like that. Poor Heather there with Eagle Farms. I put her right on the spot. She had no idea what I was doing. So, but
what was the name of that berry? I thought at first you said an acai berry. That's why. But what?
Haskap.
Haskap. HASCAP.
So it's an extremely, they call it a super berry. So it's very high in antioxidants. It's high in vitamins, kind of everything that she showed there. And they're bringing me a bunch of powdered Haskap, freeze-dried Haskap berries tomorrow.
Nice.
So I am going to see what that does for a Haskap honey. So as well. So I mean they do support me. So everything that they have there that's sweetened with honey, they sweeten with honey from Old McNally.
I have some Haskap honey in the kitchen there. Oh, is it ever good?
Do you sell that, Brad?
I used some of those berries before. They're pretty good.
No, my buddy who does flavored honeys made it. It's a new thing for them in the last few months. It's just so delicious. It's incredible.
So,
what's the berries taste like? Are they like grape or what?
They're a cross between a blueberry and a is it a Saskatoon? I forget, but it's
I don't
it's
know
a cross
technically
between.
it is. It looks like a big misshapen blueberry. I would say the flavor is between blueberry and a raspberry. Would you kind of support that guess?
Yeah, it's kind of mild though.
Yeah.
The honey is red. It's not blue at all.
Correct. Yeah, and that's what the berry comes out for the jams and stuff like that too. It comes out red. So now they use a cold press system, so they get a lot of the juice, but because the cold press, they get a lot of the vitamins and minerals and everything out of the skin as well. So that makes their Haskap extract and stuff like that almost like a dark purple. So, like I said, it is incredibly good. So, anyways, I'm going to jump off here for a minute. I'll jump back on. I just want to run in and pick up a couple cases of butter here before the store closes.
All right.
See you later.
I'll be back
Butter.
shortly.
A couple cases of butter.
Butter.
So yeah, okay.
I'm frozen, Charlie, but I'm still here.
Yeah, I've been freezing up too. Is anybody else having that issue besides me? And
I do.
It's just cold.
It happens to me every time.
It's cold.
Yeah, I know Todd has that problem.
I mean, he's out in that warm country. There he is. Now he's back. He's thawed out.
No, I'm back. I'm spotty.
So we went over to Harbor Freight today. They had the Black Friday sale over there and got one of those portable, those portable sheds, or like the Shelter Logic, but it's their off-brand. It's only like $179 for a 10 by 17, but I'm putting that up and I'm clearing out the basement. Anything that can go outside or anything that's not of high value, it's going into the portable shed. And the basement, I've decided, is going to become the honey house because I've exhausted all my resources. I've gone through that whole process. I've talked to like different salespeople and checked out different types of sheds and everything, and I got some really good deals on them. But the problem for me is I have 2 different properties where I could do this, and they're both on a slope. So I even got prices on getting them like leveled, and they're talking like $7,000 just to get like the property next door leveled off. So that's going to be, I'd have $7,000 tied up into it before I'd even have the honey house down on it. So I just decided, and this was Rebecca's original idea. The woman always comes up with the best idea, really, right? So it was her idea to just go with the basement, and I didn't want to because we do have water issues down there, but that's what it's going to be. So I got one room down there that's about 80% finished. I started working on it. Well, actually, I remodeled it like about 10 years ago, but it's not going to take much to get it going. So that's going to be my winter project, is putting the honey house in the basement. It's going to be a honey basement. Not going to have a honey house, it'll be a honey basement. But that's my news. So I got all this stuff going on. I've been burning the candle at both ends, like making all these creamed honeys and all these different like specialty honeys and everything else. And I have to fly under the radar to sell it because of the way Pennsylvania is with their laws. So anyway, that's going to be my winter project. It's kind of nice to have putting the bees away and everything, and be able to work on something else, besides the bees, something that can actually help you grow.
Right. So you say you had water problems. Is that because of just coming through the walls or what?
Yeah, it's coming through the walls, and I actually think it's my gutters. I'm going to have somebody come up.
I was just going to say, take and get some PVC pipe or whatever that'll fit your downspouts, and get like a 10-foot section and run that water 10 feet away from the house.
Yeah.
Out away from the walls, and I think you'll find that will help tremendously. And also make sure if you're in a wooded area or whatever where your gutter choked up, make sure you keep them clean and whatever.
Yeah, but the house before Rebecca bought it, the downstairs, the basement was fixed up as like kind of not an apartment, but like somebody was living down there or something, because there was a kitchen down there and a bathroom with a shower and everything. And we started getting that, we got the house and started getting that water damage. So we just said, let's just use this as storage. But then after going through all this with getting the prices and everything, what it's going to cost me, I thought, well, the basement was dry at one time, right? And it was like livable, so I can, do it again,
So you're going to have your extraction tank, your uncapping tank, your extractor, and then what else you're going to put in there? A creamer, maybe?
I got enough room in there, Charlie. Like what's the footprint on our house? I don't even know what it is, like 70 by 30 or something. So I will have like that entire area, except for the furnace room. But I got a lot of room. I'm going to get that one room fixed up. It's going to be that first room is already like I said, it's about 80% done. It's a small room. It's only like, I don't even know what it is, maybe 10 by 15. So that's going to be cramped. But while I'm in there, getting inspected, getting my license and all that, I can work on the other side, the other part of the basement, and middle part of the basement definitely be useful. And then the far part of the basement, that's actually like a single car garage, but it's not really functional as that, because the way the driveway is angled, like it's hard to even get a car in there. So I could turn that into like a woodworking area, storage, and it's going to work out pretty well. I think I can put anything that I want to do in there. I can fit my whatever equipment I decide to go with. It'll work out in there. So that's
Long
it.
extraction line.
I know.
What'd you do, Alex? What'd you say, Alex?
I said a full-on extraction line in his basement.
Nope. I got the Hive Butler. That's it. I got the Hive Butler, and I might end up with another Hive Butler. That's going to be my extraction line.
That's your uncapping line.
Yeah, the uncapping line.
Yeah, they're on sale actually right now, uncapping tanks and all. Well, let's see. Anything else, guys, we'll talk about?
Charlie, Shane's asking me if we do mostly cream. I would say
Yeah.
for every barrel of liquid, we probably sell 6 creamed.
Yeah, and you went through how many barrels? You say about 6 or 8 creamed already?
I've done 6 barrels creamed, and I'm doing 2 more right now. So
Yeah, and then you're running out, aren't you?
yeah, I'm gonna run out probably. Yeah.
And all. So, well, I'm gonna go ahead and shut the chat down. We've been going almost for 3 hours. It's been a good chat and everything. So until next time, we'll see you next Friday or Tuesday on Bob's channel or any other night of the week.
Any other night of the week we go. And if you want a mini hive, I've got them on my website.
All right.
What?
And then Brad might jump.
Mini
Brad
hive.
Yeah. Show Joey what
Never
you
know.
got.
You never know.
So it's a little
Oh yeah.
model mini hive. So it's double D
That was wood.
wood, yes sir. It's out of basswood. So
It's made out of
That
I made it out of Alex's
magic
basswood tree.
basswood box.
He went and sawed down that basswood tree, and Charlie sawed it up into little 3/16.
I thought he might have put a regular hive in the oven and shrunk it or something.